Here we go. Get right to it. Mm. All right, so we'll wait for our guest. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good, good. See, that just jumped right into it. No foreplay. Oh, so we're waiting for our guest to come really quick. Oh, you know why I can't see him? Because he is way down at the bottom. Boom. There we go. Nice.
Sam Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Fellas, what's happening?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Got left backstage. I got left backstage.
In the green
Well,
room.
they told. Yeah,
It
the
is a very
green.
nice green room, though. You do host real well. I got to give you credit.
I told. They told me that you had a special requirements. You ever hear
Only
about
green
that?
Skittles. I need you to sort my Skittles. Only the green ones.
Exactly, J Lo style.
Yeah,
All right, man. I appreciate you guys coming on with me. This is kind of like last minute, but I'm glad that I have some people to kind of bounce these ideas off of. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Mm. All right, here we go. All right, so hello, everyone. My name is Paige. Welcome to episode 80 of the Hangout, where we give you positive insight into the world of collecting in a very chilled and relaxed atmosphere. This is going to be a very good show because something happened today. Actually, a couple things happened today. And so I was like, I'll gather two of my best friends on. We'll talk about some of this stuff, give some unique perspective and insight into things. So please welcome the stars of the Two Cory show.
yeah.
NC. Michael Cory and Christopher Cory. Thank you guys for coming on. Appreciate you guys. I do like that show, man. It's nice. It's very chilled, relaxed atmosphere. I love it, man.
Oh,
I hope
thank you.
that more people have a chance to see it, man. Are you guys going to do YouTube or no?
I
No?
leave it to
Okay.
the boss.
Yeah, you probably have to see what fits in, Sawyer's schedule. He's kind of the, he's the brains behind the whole thing. You got to talk to the guy.
Mm.
We just show up. He points us in the right direction. That's kind of the way it works.
You get like clearance for everything, right?
That's right. Absolutely. That's
He's
the
a
way it
good kid,
works.
man. He's a good kid. So if you guys don't mind, before we even get started, obviously there was a bunch of stuff that happened today, and I've been trying to keep everybody in the loop as much as I can today. But for anybody that didn't catch all the announcements and kind of stuff that was brought up, if you guys don't mind, let me just go through that stuff really quick. So today we had shipping that went out for the Golden Age Batman. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that one. It's the black and white or black and gray Batman. Don't want anybody to get confused with that. It was supposed to be shipping out of New York initially, and then a bunch of people got a notification that's going to be shipping out of Fifi or Fifi, however you want to call it, West Coast. So, but I was able to kind of like look at some things, and it turns out it's shipping from both locations. So I think that's kind of cool because I remember they were trying to work on that before, where it'd be better distribution. But just so everybody knows, it is shipping out of two locations. So if you get something in the mail and you're like, hey, why is this coming from here, from there? They are working on that kind of stuff. So I think Jason and I talked about this like a year ago. We were discussing some of this stuff. Did you guys order that or no?
I did.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
CC, did you? No.
I did not. I passed on that one.
Um,
I'm a little more of an accessory guy. I needed one more accessory. I think I'd have been in. Maybe a
what would,
kapow. If I'd had a kapow in there, or a
Shark repellent.
zowie, or a
oh, like a special effect or something like that, like they had for the
yeah,
other one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Shark
Yeah.
repellent.
I keep
Shark
saying they should have
repellent.
did that. Yeah.
Give me a
Yeah.
shark on the side too. I need that.
I
Don't
could
give
use
them
that
any
for
ideas. Don't give them any ideas. I don't need a Mezco shark being released next.
yeah, they could do like an accessory pack. Maybe you never know. Another
Uh,
thing that people had was actually the Doc Knock mask. That actually shipped out, but everybody's been getting that in hand. I've seen a couple of people post pictures of that. Um, really quick. I don't think I have it, but there were people that are actually getting that in hand. It looks like it's just in a bag, but that's that new line that they come up with the mugs. It's supposed to have the pink skulls, and then they also have the hoodies. They don't have any shipping for that stuff yet, but I'm assuming since everything else is just raining down upon us, That stuff is probably going to be coming soon too. Did you guys get that or no? No.
No, not that one.
You're like, no, we're not marks like you, Paige. You don't want that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to fight the good fight from time to time. I try to hold the line, and I try not to get it all. I don't win that fight very often though.
Yeah.
Not often enough.
Is it wallet or space with you or something else?
Man, it's not wallet.
Mhm.
It's not really space. Is I guess more so just me trying to be a little more disciplined.
Right.
That's kind of the big thing for me because man, I've got so much stuff just everywhere, and it's just not realistic. So I'm just trying to be more realistic about it. Like, what do I really need, and those type of things. And you'd be surprised at what I convinced myself that I really need. I guess we'll talk about that a little more later.
Yes, that's going to be a big talking point for us. Yeah. I wanted to try to get and see what you guys, because I know everybody's been busy doing different stuff, and everybody's kind of like doing their own thing and taking breaks from social media or taking breaks from communities and stuff like that. So I'm really interested in seeing what you guys like have to say. Hey, Sawyer,
The
what's up, man?
man,
How you doing, bro?
the myth, the legend.
Yeah, they're all here
That's
to
the
see you,
guy.
brother. He's like, yeah. So in recent news, charger notifications went out for Atticus Doom. That's the enhancement kit. Um, that was one of the little free falling things that happened. There's also, I don't know, a lot of people that are going to be interested in this, but there are some. They have the 5 points Mothra versus Godzilla. That was the 1964 Mothra versus, I'm going to butcher this. So if you are a Godzilla fan, please send me a VM and let me know how to pronounce it correctly. So, Bujin?
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
You got
We'll
it.
go with it. Sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
And then the last hit of the day, pretty expensive one, yeah, was the Death Brokers Black Skulls 112. That is obviously a huge hit for some people. Did you guys order that?
I did.
Come on, you got to make it a 3. Cory, did you order it? Yes or no?
So full disclosure,
Yes. Mhm.
I jumped on the wait list and then I canceled.
Do you have plans on getting it though?
I,
Do you have plans
I
on
My
got
pearls.
I got the notification today that my wait list did convert,
Mm-hmm.
and I opted out. Will I regret it? Possibly.
So why did you opt
Possibly.
out? Why'd you opt out?
I'm really working on a lone roach right now. That's kind of my thing. And
Mhm.
if the choice comes down between the Death Brokers and Lone Roach, I got to go with Lone Roach right now. And with the price drop we've seen, I feel like now is the time to pick that Grail piece up for me. So I like playing the waiting game. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I can grab that now. I'll get those Death Brokers for 150 from somebody desperate down the road.
You're a man of anticipation. I see a man of anticipation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. There's
Yeah.
gonna be some
Yes.
poor guy, getting divorced. It's got to get rid of some stuff, and
Ooh.
I'll pick it up for $1.25. He's got
Yeah.
attorney fees and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well,
I'm an
I always feel bad.
opportunist.
I feel bad when
Opportunist.
I see that. So, well, no. Yeah. I was gonna say, I was trying to think of a better word, but I was like, man, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
He's got some insider
Yeah.
trading information, I think.
Yeah.
I think he does. Yeah. Buy, sell, trade, and stuff like that.
He's
Um,
texting somebody's wife right now. Death Brokers. Hey, you know what I saw him doing?
yeah.
I
That's a
got one of those
huge
little
hit.
toy tickers that run along the bottom of my screen. It's like Low Roach is down 4 points. Now's the time to buy. Let me pick one of those up now.
It does seem like that lately. Like there's so many like sales posts, and it's a good thing because most of this stuff is going for retail or close to retail, so that's cool because it's just changing hands and people that actually want it. Um, But yeah, all of those things are actually in the works right now. I do remember somebody talking about this many times for many months. Um, but all that stuff is dropping. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be way more stuff that's going to be dropping. All this stuff is kind of put out real time. So I'm just the guy that's telling you about the guy that did it before. But if you are interested and you're wanting all this stuff kind of real time, most of this information is either in the groups. You can go to all three of them. Usually, it kind of disseminates through there. If not, you can go to the toy page that's on Facebook. I updated Instagram quite a bit today. It seemed like every time, like we were talking about, I got a mailing order, and I appreciate you guys too. You're like, hey, did you see this? I was like, yeah, man, but it just kept coming. But make sure you go to one of those places, and you'll be able to get all of this stuff in real time. It does seem like it's a lot, and I don't think that this is going to be the last of the stuff that we're going to see. So, since it,
Uh-oh.
do you guys want to take a look at this really quick?
I thought the girl
I
knocked
wanna
your lights
get-
out for a minute.
Yeah, this one did.
Literally.
Yeah, I was like this and the 5 points when I had the when I got that 5 points. Sorry, I'm doing a screen share. The 5 points, Nancy. I was really surprised that some of that stuff kind of flew, you know. And when this came out, I was like, oh man, I hope that they don't get in trouble for any of this kind of stuff. So, because you know how everything's so PC nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the 5 point stuff?
I like it. It's just kind of like basic, you know. It's like a throwback to when, you know, obviously when we were kids, when things only had 5 points with articulation, like GI Joes and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. I mean, they just stand there, but I can see, I can see the possibility of it in the future. I think is it McFarlane that does the other version too? They have little articulation points on there.
The Batman,
Yeah, they've
Batman 66.
yeah, they've built it in. Like so you have elbow joints and knees and stuff like that, and they move. It's like a little miniature figure. You get some range out of it, but I keep hoping that maybe they'll take those cues from, you know, another company and maybe add on to it because it's gotten better paint wise and engineering wise since I first started collecting. I can tell you that. So
We have all the Rumble Society 5 points that have come out. All the variants of Hazard Squad Gomez and
pink skulls and stuff. And
yes, but none of the other. I'll get Scooby Doo when that comes out. Oh, and we have Popeye, the Popeye line, the first one that came out. That's all for 5 points from Mezco.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. I can't wait for those, man. What do you think, Cory? What do you got? No, good. No.
What's that for the 5 points?
Yeah.
You know, I've been admiring them from afar, but I don't have one yet. The Godzilla stuff looks pretty cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
You know, and some of the boss fight stuff is kind of similar in scale to those things. But once again, like, you know, the boss fight isn't the 5 POA. It's they got all the articulation built in. I could see me picking the Godzilla stuff up though. I keep fighting it, but I don't know. I guess I need a good Godzilla to go with it first. You can't jump in and just have the monsters without the king of the monsters, right? So I missed out on the first Godzilla. So that might be my out. We'll see.
Yeah, it's all about self-control now, isn't it?
Until they re-release. You know, they'll do a re-release of the Godzilla, and then I'm in. Once I'm in, I'm in.
Yeah. Some guy asked me, he was like, hey, man, I saw you got the Horseman. Are you in the Mythic Legions? I'm like, no, I'm just cherry picking, bro. It's just way too much stuff, man. It's
famous last words. That's what they all say.
It's another black hole. I can tell you that. But
yeah.
You gotta change that because I'm covering your face. Look at that. That's not fair. Keep that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and gone. All right. So yeah. So this is a nice little blast from the past. What did you guys think about this? Looking at it like right off the bat. We won't spend too much time on it. I just thought this was in like a little nostalgia thing. So I thought it was kind of cool.
Accurate. It looks, you know, like looking at her.
But
you know, she's 71 years old.
Yeah.
She's 71. And she's like
still looks great.
Yeah, she's really like held up, and I think it's cool that she has this character, and obviously she's trademarked it and licensed it. But there was some pretty interesting stuff on this.
It makes me wonder what I'm doing wrong at 45.
Mm, I was like, where'd she find the Fountain of Youth? But yeah, so this is their Static Six. This is the statue line. They only have three other statues currently. One out, and then they have two others that are pre-ordered, and then there's one that got shown. But they have the Silent Hill Pyramid Head, and then they have this one that they just put up today, and then the one that everyone's probably going to be waiting for, the Doc Nocturnal. But I thought this was pretty cool. They had like TVs, images, and this is $250. It's going to come out next year. I wasn't ever really into statues, to be honest with you, but a friend of mine, he was able to hook me up with this Conan figure. This has a lot of details. But he hooked me up with a Conan figure, and I kind of got latched on with that. Sorry about the dogs barking. But yeah, it looks really cool. Nice base. And one of the things I thought that was really cool was the TV. I guess you can take these images and then you can interchange them.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like that little TV, which is kind of funny because let me get up and I'll show you guys. I know I've been sending you guys this stuff, but we always talk about like projects and crap that we're working on. So I was working on this for a shot, but I'm not saying they stole an idea or anything like that. Nobody's saying that. I was just thinking, okay, great minds think alike. But about this, let's turn this screen share off so we can have bigger. And then we'll do that. Not to put you guys aside, but there you go.
That is so dope, man.
Yeah.
I told you I saw the picture of that. That's got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
A lot of potential.
You know what it
You know
reminds me? That old MTV show, Remote Control, the old game show. I love it.
Yeah.
That place that I told you to go to when you come over to my side of the town, that establishment, they have a setup like that in one of the rooms.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I do want to get down there because I remember you showing me pictures of that. When I was doing this and they showed that, I thought about that, and then another thing was I didn't know that I had this. Sorry, the dogs distract me. I didn't know I had this, but I still have that Joker. You remember the Joker that comes? It's like a statue. It comes with the table and it has the TVs. I said, "Oh, dude, I could probably just use that." But yeah, this is cool. I built this. The reason why I'm showing this is hopefully this doesn't blind anybody either. But you guys are getting first look at this. So let me do that.
Damn.
I don't know if I can do it. Let's try it. You can tell all this is impromptu, right? Maybe the other light's on, so it's not
No
probably not gonna show.
script.
Yeah, there is no scripting. Yeah, but yeah,
I like
took
it.
pictures. Yeah, I took pictures of all the ones that I did, and I stuck them in there. The reason why I'm showing this is because anybody who's not familiar with this, we're gonna do tap in here in a little bit, and what I'm gonna do is this will be my next giveaway. I'll do the shoot, and then you guys can have this for the prize.
Wow.
Ta-da! There's other pieces that go with it. I haven't shown that because I don't want to show it all off yet. But yeah, if you're not familiar with this, we'll do this giveaway on, help me out, October 17th. Is that Monday? Monday?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the like dates. I've been doing it on Monday, but Monday, 8 p.m. We'll do tap in, and tap in. If you guys aren't familiar with that, is where as soon as you'll see it on the crawler, if it says tap in, the first 5 people that respond, they get an entry. We'll probably do it twice this show, so you'll have 2 times. And then throughout the week, I usually put stuff on Instagram, like stories and everything else like that. I usually ask questions or just post dumb videos of me eating cereal or drinking tea. But if there's something in there that says tap in and you do, you'll get an entry. And like I said, Monday, do a live spin. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't want it, I'll pass it on to the next person. Or just give it to Sawyer. What up? Did you see this? I got this in a knife fight. Look at that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is that last night?
Yeah. No. We're doing knife practice. Came a little bit too close. I was like, yo, man, watch out. He cut me. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? So, yeah. Anyway. But yeah, that'll be available. Enough talking. That's what I had on the table. What do you guys have? What you guys got going on? What you get in the mail? What are you working on? CC, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. Well, we just talked about how earlier about it's amazing kind of the things that I decided like are must-haves for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I got this in the mail today.
Ooh.
Right?
What's that?
Union Gomez here. Give you a little more camera. You can check him out. Union Gomez arrived today. And he's definitely by far the most unique, I would say, so far.
Mm-hmm.
But right off the bat, the thing that impressed me the most, I know I saw D Amazing's videos and stuff with this, but this might be their most detailed figure yet, just as far as the apps, the texture, the accessories and everything that they've done with this thing. Like he literally looks like, he fell off a high rise somewhere. He's been working all day long. Like every inch of this thing, you're never going to see it because it's too tight, but every inch is textured and weathered and grimy and dirty. And he's just incredible. Incredible.
I can't wait.
And like at first I was like, oh, come on. I'm like, do I really need a construction worker action figure? Like that's one of those things. If I was making a wish list of figures that I had to have, and I'd like to see him this, like I don't know. I'd love to know what their inspiration was behind this figure. I give them an A for just unique. But I'd love to see other people's impressions once they see this in hand, and don't just listen to what I'm saying about having a hold of it. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. Just the gloves and the helmet and the accessories and the weight of these real metal accessories and things like that.
Right.
It's next level. It's next level. So it may not be everyone's favorite figure because maybe that's just not your preferred genre. But if you were to grade this figure on just accessories, the paint app, texture, and detail,
mm-hmm.
Number one. By far number one. I don't, and that's compared to anybody. I've got other 112 figures from other companies. I haven't had anything in my hands that have this amount of detail in there. Like it's just crammed in, like literally. The gloves alone, I mean, you can just sit there and, every little bit of it's got something. Look at that.
Yeah.
Like they're just ridiculous. So I'm glad that I finally said, you know what? Okay, I got to have it because I did hee haw there for a little bit. I didn't order it right away.
I remember talking to you about that.
Yeah, I was really on the fence. It sold me on it when D Amazing released the video and I saw the accessories because, like I said, I'm an accessory junkie, and I bet you if you were to buy just these metal tools and stuff, like if they had like an accessory kit from some other company, that's probably a $45 set, easy, with those tools and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I bought some of those add-on things from other companies before. Bat Force Grump said Lone Roach. Look, hey, I can't wait to own a Lone Roach. But the only reason why I'm not saying that's the most unique is because we have other samurai figures and other lines. But I've never seen a construction worker. I don't know, if anybody has released a construction worker on any other line that I'm aware of. I know some people have compared these to, what was it?
The gas station.
Gas, yeah.
The gas station figures. Yeah, like I'm not familiar with those. I've seen pictures of them. So I guess you could kind of compare it to that. But I would love to have been in the room when they come out and they said, "Hey, let's do a Union Gomez," and they're like, "You got it!" Like I would have loved to have known, what the inspiration was there. But in hand, man, this thing is ridiculously good. I still don't know what I'll do with them. You know what I mean? He's definitely kind of a standalone figure, in my opinion, kind of.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking at quality and everything, he's a home run. Another one.
I wonder if they're like sticking to like the motif of things that are New York. You know, we have Vapor, and we've had like some of the Gomez. You know, obviously in that you know that the void kind of intergalactic kind of space theme kind of stuff, but they go back to their roots and do the New York thing, like with hoods and Vapor,
Yeah.
and then they have this and they have Street Gomez. I'm wondering if that's something that they just want to like dip their toe into every once in a while. And then another thing I wondered was is Minnie's. She showed her sticker pack. Thank you for her for doing that. She showed the sticker pack in the group, and it had a picture of Union Gomez on the left, and then they had a white skull or a skull character on the right. And I kept thinking, I'm like, oh, maybe they'll build a crew. You know, like maybe we'll get either white skull because it is white, but the other one was white too. But I was thinking maybe we might get Eddie as a construction worker. Or, you know,
Eddie'd be a
slow build
flag
for the
man.
YMCA.
Get a flag man out there, and need some guy with a jackhammer. Some. If anybody knows
Yeah.
somebody who's making jackhammers, let me know. I've already decided I need a jackhammer for this guy. It's going to be a must-have accessory there.
Yeah.
Fully functional, of course. I need a fully functional jackhammer for my Union Gomez. I'll settle for no less.
You know what was also cool about this was I like how it like they do have the New York stuff, but I like how it resonated with everybody too. Like a lot of the people that are in that construction field, they were like, "Oh,
Mhm.
this is a must buy for me," because it's relatable, you know.
Mhm.
Like, and then it just adds a little bit more, I guess, a little personal touch to it. MC, what'd you think? I know
Uh,
you're waiting. I'm not trying to rub it in.
yeah, I'm waiting patiently. I thought today was the
Yeah,
day.
I love the shirt. I love the shirt.
Thank you, thank you.
yeah, it's a nice shirt, man. Really shirt. I like it.
Mine will be here tomorrow. It's supposed to be. It's in my town. It was supposed to be out today, but just made a stop in your town first and took a little bit longer. I think probably
I
landed on
think
your
I,
doorstep.
I think I actually got yours over there. It's like it's mine now.
Or tomorrow. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. And I ordered an extra one for that little guy that runs around my house. So
Yeah, the little roach, the little guy.
he's got his own my own little grub. So, but
Yeah, show your driver's license for a figure. I saw a couple people say that they were
yeah,
getting the stuff and you had to sign, and then they also had to show their driver's license. I've never had that happen.
what I always do mine at Walgreens because I'm usually um, doing my job when it comes in. So they always ask to check my driver's license for ID. But
Yeah.
so, but I'm just
Walgreens is the way to go.
playing around with this guy, trying to work on a picture for him right now.
Excuse me, sir. That is not Mezco.
I know,
Oh,
it's just a tease.
oh.
But I do have a shot planned with a Mezco figure with him. So
I'm just joking, man. I got that thing over in the corner. I haven't even opened it up yet. I really want to, man. I've heard good things.
Hey, do you think the collaboration between Four Horsemen and Mezco was part of the inspiration for the soft goods cape with the headless horseman there?
I it feels very Mezconian. Is that a word?
I mean, I could be wrong. There's some other Mythic Legion guys, but I believe this is the first in-hand product with soft goods that they've released. They had another 2-pack that's coming that's supposed to have soft goods. I don't remember the name of the figures, but they have a 2-pack that's been pre-ordered already that hasn't hit the streets. But I believe that is the first Mythic Legion to have soft goods right out the box without it being custom.
Yeah. I'm not in the line too much, but there are other Mythic Legions guys, and they have the group over there too. And they just pump out really good content, and they're very organized and very well sourced. I think I've watched the Legions on a couple times, and I always feel like you can take away more information from there. And the group seems like it's very open arms. I remember I said I just got that figure, I'm really happy. This is my first Mythic Legions direct ordered figure, and people were like, "Congratulations!" I'm like, "Oh, dude, this will come into play later." But that community was so, "Oh, hey, man, congratulations, welcome to the group," that kind of stuff, and I was like, "Wow, this is really good." But from what I understand, when I was watching the program, uh, CJ, you guys know CJism, right? CJ,
Hmm.
he's the one that was doing a lot of the soft good stuff independently, and
Yeah, I
from what I
know
understand,
work. So
yeah. From what I understand, he's the one that worked on as far as like order. If this is the first one, I'm not too sure, but I know he's worked on. He is working on projects with them, and he's a fantastic. He and I guess his wife, they're both partners, and they both do all the orders and stuff like that. But he does really great work. I have a bunch of his stuff before it was mainstream that he would sell on his site before. So shout out to him, man. He's really good. But that's all I know about that. Maybe there's people in the room that I did want to go back to this really quick, and this was good about this too because people answered questions in here for them too as well. It says if Mezco can't fulfill the wait list, do you get your NRD back? Asking because I'm new to buying them. So yeah, when you're put on the wait list after when you it's kind of so let's say a figure just waitlisted and you get on, they do a soft charge and then they don't actually charge you until that figure is either fulfilled or it comes in. But when they do, they're going to take all of the money from you right then and there. Another thing is and I've
This
seen
sounded
people,
so ominous.
yeah,
They're gonna take it all. They're gonna,
Oh.
message,
they're gonna take it all right then and there. All
yeah,
of it. All of it.
like they did today. Goodness gracious,
Zero the account.
mm-hmm.
Zero the account.
I'm trying to think. Yeah. What was the other thing? There was a thing. Oh, so and an add-on to that. Somebody asked before, and I know there's been conflicting information about it, but somebody said, "Well, I used my reward points on it," and from my understanding, I would highly advise you not to use your reward points when you're doing a waitlist order, because there's a possibility you might not get it back. You can always message them at their customer service and they can always take care of this stuff. Like, how a lot of people are talking about, well, I have who should not be named and I have my NRD or I paid in full. And I've seen a bunch of stuff with that. I think they're pretty aware that that figure's been in delayed development for so long. And I'm pretty sure that they don't want to have an unsatisfied customer. Translation, they don't want you to complain every single day to them. So they'll be probably happy to give you your money back because they do want you to be a satisfied
And you can
customer.
only use reward points on regular releases, right? You can't use that for any exclusives, right? Am I wrong?
Well, yes, I've used them before on exclusives, but I don't know if it was just something special that they were doing because I remember I clicked it in there and it worked. So I don't know if I just floated by and I've seen other people
That's
do it.
that's probably just you. I mean, I could imagine you just have that touch. I
No.
don't think the common man. I'm not sure the common man has been able to use reward points.
I don't want to say his name, but I know one other person that's done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's the one that told me about it, and that's what I did. I used it, so I was like, yeah. I do know they have a 2-year expiration period, so if you have points that are just sitting there, which a lot of people make good talking points about, is like, well, they're only putting out exclusives, and the regular stuff, it's so far out, or they're not putting any regular items up for us to pre-order. All I can really use my stuff is on masks or hoodies or something like that. But they expire in 2 years, so if they're getting close, make sure you use them. But from what I understand, if you just email them, email. Anytime you have a question, just email them. It may take a little while to get back, but most of the time they get back to you. But when you email them, they'll say, okay, yeah, and they can always adjust your stuff. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I've seen it where they understand what the scenario is going on and they adjust to it accordingly. So, I mean, not bad.
You mean they're reasonable to deal with?
Yeah, some are. Yeah. I think most of these
I know,
companies are.
it's just everybody's
I
always so
know.
set, and I know that I've never had any issues. They've always been great to me.
Yeah.
I actually used I had some that were expiring, and I used it towards Snake Eyes, so I got Snake Eyes coming for free. So,
Yeah. Or you didn't you just have to pay shipping, right? That's all, right?
Yeah, I think it was
the
just shipping, like
Yeah.
$14 or I don't remember, but
And $14 Snake Eyes.
yeah, you can't even get a GI Joe classified Snake Eyes for $14.
That
No,
new
you
one
cannot.
came out, right? The one with the new one. You got that, right?
Tomorrow,
Oh, I didn't ask you. MC, what do you got? I forgot. We skipped over it. What are you working with? What do you got?
the
You
Horseman.
got. Oh yeah, you did. You said that. I'm sorry.
He said not
My
allowed.
mind's gone.
So I hit him.
So so I guess we can just move on to the main topic really quick. You guys ready for this? Oh, look, he dug in. He's like this.
Yes, it's time to get ready.
Yeah.
It's getting serious.
Enough
Change
show
of
foreplay,
pose.
right?
The
Yeah.
Bears
Pose, yeah.
Bears coach face on.
Yeah, he did have it.
We're
He's
gonna beat
ready.
the Commanders tomorrow. Gonna beat the Commanders.
The what?
The Commanders
Who was
Who are
that?
who are the Commanders?
used to be the Redskins.
Oh yeah.
Used to
whole
be the
name
Washington
change
football
thing?
team. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Now they're the Commanders, which doesn't really matter. They don't have a football team, so it'll be the only game we'll be favored in all year, I'm sure.
You guys play the Lions still.
The Hard Knock Lions. I don't know if I'd rather play the Commanders 3 times than to play the Lions. I think.
Mm. I haven't watched football in 3 years. None of it.
Hey man, we got those starting lineups coming with the NFL. We got to get you ready. I'm sure there's going to be a Patrick Mahomes one, so you got to know who Patrick Mahomes is before you get that pre-order.
He plays for the Chiefs. Boom.
Yeah. See there?
Yeah.
There you go. That's all you need to know in today's NFL.
What Brady
Yeah.
is?
That's all you need to know.
I'm waiting for the you just said Brady. I'm waiting for the Giselle Build-A-Figure.
Oh,
Ooh, is that Lesnar?
the legs on that one.
Yeah.
Two
Did I
fake.
send you that Antonio Brown meme? Did I send you that? That was bad, bro.
I have to
You
talk
did
to
say
you
that.
about him off camera, but I'll tell you about Antonio Brown later off camera.
Oh, you know him. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Please do that. All right, so let's do this. All right, here we go. So community, unity. UNITY. You know what that reference is? I know. Yeah, a little bit of Queen Latifah. So I guess to first start off with this isn't like some kind of complaint video, and I don't have any problems with anybody with any of these issues either way. But there's some things that I'm pretty sure you guys have seen and I have seen in the community that I feel like if we just kind of talked about it, I think it will probably get better. It doesn't mean it's going to change anybody's mindset about anything, but something happened today that was very interesting. And it may seem like a petty Paige moment, but there was a reason for it, because I never do anything unless I have a reason for it. So there was, how do I keep this kind of bland? So there was a post that I put up today. The reason why I put this post up is I couldn't really remember who the person was that I was trying to talk to. The thing is that he and I we were kind of like, what do you call it, internet friends? And so he was up and I was like, I couldn't remember who it was, but I just kind of put up a post. But there was a bunch of other meanings for it. And so during this post, what happened was people started jumping in. There's probably something that could have been put in a private message. But I wanted to kind of see what would happen because of all these things that are happening in the community. And then what happened is, first off, is like some people start putting some stuff in there as misinformation. And the one thing that leads to a lot of community confusion is misinformation. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it. Somebody will say something, and then either somebody that's new to the group might see it and they just take it as face value and they run with it. And so when I was going through this stuff, I started thinking there's a bunch of things that happen in the community that I think that we all do to each other that make the experience of our collecting bad. I have 4 of them that I was going to talk to you about, but I guess to start off on that, you guys see stuff in the community that you think that you just shake your head at. What is going on with this guy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who's got to go?
MC.
Yeah, go.
MCU.
Hmm?
MCU.
Oh yeah.
My ass more than anything, and
Yeah.
I start blocking people. It's
Mhm.
that's one I just roll my eyes at. Everybody gets so up in arms, and there's good content out there. Who cares if it's a female that's in the lead?
Right.
I I don't want to be that guy, but I would rather look at a girl running around in spandex than a dude. So, I mean, but as long as it's a good story, I like it. And I don't know. I enjoy She-Hulk. I will say it. I enjoy it. So, and I will that it's a good show. It's
Yeah.
different. So
Yeah.
I do. I like it too.
The last
Cece, what
episode was
about you?
awesome. Last
What
episode was
about you?
awesome.
What
So,
about you,
I mean, you guys know me very well, so you kind of know how my mentality has changed a little bit with the toy groups and the things that I focus on.
Right.
You know, I'm at a point in my life where I have chosen to no longer invest time in things that don't bring me enjoyment or some sort of satisfaction in my life. Um, so I've left, you know, numerous toy groups due to just the drama. Because what I find interesting is, to me, when you join a specific group geared towards a certain manufacturer, be it Storm Collectibles, Figure Arts, Hasbro, you know, whatever it is, you join that group because you're a fan of it, right? It's something that you enjoy. It's something that you're spending your money on. It's something. So I don't understand the folks that join these groups just to tear it down. Like, we're all here because we love the line, right? We're buying it. There's figures that they have that we love. We may not love them all. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
things that I've passed on. You know, I don't love everything that these. But what brought me to the group was my love for the line.
Right.
So, you know, if I post something, I say, man, I love this figure. I'm not going to say what group it was in, but I was in a group the other day. It's a really large group. And a guy posted a Marvel Legend and said, this is my favorite Legend ever. And this was his favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had 98 comments from people all basically telling him why he was stupid for, you know, that being his favorite.
Right.
This man came here to share something that brought him joy.
Yeah.
And now he has to defend his feelings. That bothers me a lot. Like, why steal someone else's joy? Like, we're supposed to all be here for the same thing.
Right.
And you know, if you're in a Hasbro group, I have to assume it's because you like Hasbro. You know, I have to assume that's why you're there. But it seems like some people, it's like they want to just, you know, I don't care what it is, we're going to jump on the negative side of it. And it's amazing how, you know, like I said, that guy posted, this was his favorite figure, 98 comments, you know, all telling him why he was dumb.
Right.
You know, it just blows my mind that people want to use the internet to just spread unhappiness instead of trying to encourage somebody. Or, you know, if you see that, you disagree, like, is it that hard just to roll by it? Like, I don't, you know, why the need to comment? Why the need to correct him? You know, I really don't understand that need to do that. It bothers me a lot.
Well, that brings me to the second thing that I was going to talk to you about, and that is difference of opinion. And I have kind of a similar story to this. And like I said, none of this stuff really bothers me about the internet. You know, you read this kind of stuff, and it just happens. And I totally get it. Everyone has a difference of opinion. I think what I don't understand is when people make it a mission for you to change your mind about something. And I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and he said, "Well, Paige, you do the same thing." And I said, "No, I don't." I said, "There's a difference between the previous talk that we talked about with misinformation. If you're in the group that I'm a part of, I want to make sure that the people in that group have the right information about whatever they're trying to learn about, right?
Right.
So if you're coming in and saying, don't order from this company, it takes them 7 years to put out a figure, that's incorrect.
Right.
You know, they have one that's 3 years. I'll give you that. I don't have a problem admitting that. You know, it's not going to hurt me, it'll hurt my soul. But I'm not going to have somebody go into the group and have somebody leave the group because they think that this is what the way is, whatever this company is. Now, if you want to base it off 3 years, totally fine, totally fine. But then to have everybody else, same thing like you said. If a character comes out and somebody says, "I'm really looking forward to this," and people jump on that person for like, "Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. That character sucks."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah. And the thing I had was, and I really don't want to rehash this because everybody out there has been already talking about this. But to add some context to it was the HasLab, the Spirits of Vengeance card. So that comes out, and it was a friend of mine, and I was having a conversation with my friend, and we said, I said they showed it at SDCC. So I'm sorry, New York Comic Con, right? So you're seeing this real time, and I'm like, wow, this looks good. I said, I really hope it gets backed. That was just my opinion, right? And the guy jumps in. I don't know this person at all. And that's another thing I want to talk to you guys about, friends and acquaintances. That's another thing. But yeah, I think there needs to be a line that people need to kind of understand with that. But we'll get to in that second. So the car's there, and I was like, I hope it gets back. He gets in and he tells me, he says, "Hey, man, you shouldn't want to pay for that. And you're just supporting them and what their habits are doing." And I was like, let me have this conversation with this, and I want to get his perspective. And I was like, so what do you mean? And he said, you need to pull out and not back this project because if you don't, you're not for the community. And I was like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah. And he said, you're condoning what they're doing. I said, I'm not condoning what they're doing. I said, I like the item and I want to pay for the item. I want the item. And the point's kind of like mute anyway, because if it doesn't get back, nobody wins anyway. I don't get the car, you don't get the car. And the message is kind of like convoluted anyway. But he was telling me, he said, if you back it, you're pretty much slapping every other collector in the community and you're condoning what they're doing. It's like, no, it's not like I'm saying I don't want that project for cheaper. What I'm telling you is that I'd like to have that product and I have the ability to pay that money. Do I want to pay it? No, but I choose to pay it. And just because I do it doesn't mean that I'm taking my hand and slapping the community. It's something that I want. So and that goes with what you were saying, putting this I guess this viewpoint of like, if you don't like it, if I don't like it, you shouldn't like it, and trying to apply that across the board is something that I think a lot of collectors need to kind of like just like let that go, because where does it stop? Do I need to check in with you and make sure that my purchases are okay with you and your budget? I mean, because
Yeah.
that's what you're trying to budget for me. So
Yeah.
MC, what do you think?
It's that whole you don't have to like the music on my iPod because it's my iPod.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, not for the. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Not for the community. Like that's horrible. Like, I don't mean to disrespect the guy or anything, but you like what you like because you like it, not because what the masses like. I mean, that's how I am. I mean, I don't just buy something because everybody else is buying it, because I like it. So there's a lot of things I pass on. But some people may buy that I wouldn't purchase. Like right now, that big what's that other Kickstarter that just started, the He-Man Eternia. Did you see that? That's Kickstarter that just started for that. It's
No.
playset. It's like, I think it was like $550 or something insane. Like,
Oh
not
my gosh! Wow.
not for me. For He-Man fans out there, I hope it gets backed and I hope they enjoy it. But their tiers are. You should check it out. So I just interested to hear your opinion later on about it. But that's not for me. I'm not going to tell somebody don't go buy it just because I'm not a He-Man fan. I don't know. I like what I like, and I don't want anybody to change my opinion. So, try to influence the other way. Same with my kid. I don't say, oh, you don't like that. That's not for you. So
yeah. I don't. CC, what's your take on it? I don't.
Well, to steal some of the words that I heard Emmanuel Paige say, be careful what you ask for, right? And just to use the HasLab as an example, the people that want to see this fail, I don't think truly understand the goal behind what HasLab is. Like this wasn't intended to be just your average retail production of items that you could find on the shelf, right?
Mm-hmm.
The projects that they're offering us are things that you'll never get a chance to buy at retail or find on a shelf at Walmart anywhere. You know, so if you don't support it, or you aren't better at letting Hasbro know why you're not supporting it, then I believe you really run the risk of there no longer being a HasLab, right? If you know they've already had a couple of them that didn't get supported, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all of them I'm sure for various reasons. But when Hasbro starts looking back at this, and say, hey, is this thing really worth our time? You know, we're only
Mm-hmm.
funding 30% of the projects, you know, that we're putting out there. We're wasting too much time, too much marketing. Is this, you know, worth it for us to continue?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like as collectors, like we're kind of in uncharted waters because there are things that are available to us that I think that we're really taking for granted. You know, there was not a HasLab 5 years ago, right? You didn't have the opportunity to get a barge, a Sentinel, you
Mm-hmm.
know, a Galactus, you know, all these things that they're making available to us as collectors because they realize there's a market there. But if you're not careful and kind of protect the market and do a better job of communicating, then you
Mm-hmm.
really run the risk of sending the wrong message. It's not about, you know, hey, we don't support, you know, you and what you are. You know, maybe this just isn't the right time. Like I personally feel like the Ghost Rider just was a bad time, you know, in the economy. But
Mm-hmm.
um, you know,
Oh,
they always say you can't deal with absolutes, right? That's a Sith thing. Star Wars guys, anybody out there?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
only you know, Sith deal with absolutes. Um, so you know, hey, if you love it, hey, that's great. I'm glad you love it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I chose not to back the Ghost Rider project just because I'm not a big Ghost Rider fan. Like I don't know who Robbie Reyes is, to be completely honest. I never followed it in the comic line. I do have some Ghost Rider bikes that I just thought were cool. I like
Mm-hmm.
motorcycles, so I have a few of those.
Yeah.
But that didn't do anything for me. But I didn't feel the need to jump online and get everybody to side with me and not support it. You know, like I would love to see this thing get funded and to see people have it in hand and see the joy that it's going to bring to them. So
Yeah.
I don't understand the need to tear something down like that.
Yeah. I want to put this up so people don't think that I filter stuff. So, what could be improved the community is Mezco releasing figures. So I'm assuming that this is I don't know if it's sarcasm or not like that, but yeah, I think you're going to be getting your wish pretty soon because they're dropping a lot of stuff right now.
It's coming.
What I'm talking about is more of community based, like what the community can do with inside of its own self. Because I think a lot of times what happens with all of this is that uh, there's so many external things that are happening, whether it be price, differences of opinion, what people collect as it is, or what the company is
Yeah.
offering us, that externally make the whole thing, I guess you would call, not a good experience. Delays, price hikes, and stuff like that. And some of these things are not going to go away. I know. I don't want to keep harping back to it, but I know that people think that this was a stand, and now that this was done, they're going to lower their prices. And will it happen? I don't know, but I can be honest with you. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, you're not going to. There, if anything, I think I had this conversation with you guys, but I think having the ability to say what you want doesn't mean that you should be saying it. And when you do say it, I think you have to be very careful on how you celebrate it. Because right
Mm-hmm.
now, what the company will see is that this project isn't getting funded. Your message was obviously clear, right? And like you said, what they're going to do is they're going to say, you know what? Let's just not do this anymore. Or on the other flip side, they're going to say, okay,
Yeah.
they want something that's cheaper. That's fine. We'll give them something cheaper, but we're going to have to cut costs and corners in certain places, like materials or other things like that. And
Yeah.
now you're going to get a product that's going to be cheaper, but it's not going to live up to your standards as a collector because you're going to be like basing it off what they gave you before or what they projected to give you. And so I know a lot of people are looking at it and going, oh, hey, this was given to us. We won. But to throw it back in the company's face, that's not building a good relationship. And that's kind of what I mean about the community. I think the community needs to start working on some of that stuff themselves, not only with fellow members, but how they also communicate to companies. Because I think we've also seen that as well. You'll get in these live streams and you'll just see it's just a lot of negativity. It's
Yeah.
bashing, it's, you've already, the point has already been made that you don't like the price and you're not happy with it. They don't need to see all of that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's not warranted, but I'm saying it keeps coming across the screen and they're not going to pay attention to it because it's just getting spewed at them
Yeah.
instead of like something constructive that they could take back
Yeah.
and they can do to improve on what their product is.
Yeah.
And we have a great opportunity with all these companies. They
Yeah.
don't have to go to these places, but I think as community members, and I'm glad we have some of these guys that are influencers and advocates and stuff like that that can go and actually take that message to the companies because just the average person coming up and going, you guys suck, this is trash, you
Yeah.
don't get anything out of that.
you know, I remember everyone used to always talk about the old Mez cycle all the time.
Hmm.
And, you know, pre COVID, when Mezco was releasing these figures at a pretty rapid rate,
Hmm.
the community was kind of similar in the fact of it seemed like every time there was a release, you would see this in hand picture from overseas that was shot with a Polaroid camera.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
everyone would tear the figure down until it got in hand, you know? So I think, and maybe this is just me, I think that's why you see a lot of these companies getting these figures into actual photographers' hands ahead of time so that way they can be, presented properly instead of us just tearing things down, before we even get a chance to see it. Which
yeah,
kind of goes back to my original thing of if you just want to tear it down, like I don't know, like if you hate Mezco, you're entitled to that. Like I can't change your mind. If you hate Mezco, that you're entitled to that opinion,
yeah.
and I'm not going to argue with you to say you have to feel any differently.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I would just say, why in the world are you in a Mezco group, right? Like if you hate Mezco, then there's a Black Series group, there's a figure arts group, there's hot toys groups, there's fan groups for whatever does float your boat. So I don't understand the need to just sink somebody else's boat. I don't understand that. If I'm content over here in my ship and we're getting along fine, I don't
Hmm.
need you putting holes in my hull. That's all there is to it. Let me be
Yeah,
happy. Let me do me. Let me enjoy me. And
yeah,
me and Union Gomez will hang out over here and have a good time.
yeah. And it's a difference of opinion. That's what I mean. Like, I
Yeah,
guess that's the point of it. And
yeah,
trying to figure out, because you can't solve it for everybody. Everybody is going to have their own difference of opinion.
yeah,
I'm just wondering about. Um, Sorry, a screen popped up. I'm just wondering what the focus is on trying to get somebody else to adopt your opinion about what you feel about something.
yeah,
Because we're not,
yeah,
it's obvious we're not all going to agree
yeah,
about certain things. But to make it a mission to have, I'm going to take somebody else's joy out of whatever, I don't
yeah,
get. And I'm mentally strong.
yeah,
You can say that kind of stuff to me. It doesn't bother me. From my point of view, I'm just trying to understand it because it's part of the community that just you could just see it tearing apart.
yeah,
And the reason why I said that was the example was because that's why I put the post up. I wanted, and it was bad, but it had a purpose, and it was like a social experiment
yeah,
because I was talking to somebody only, and I'd already planned on doing this,
yeah,
but I was talking to somebody specifically. That's why I put it as a temporary post. What happens is it gets off the rails. It wasn't focused on what the actual topic was. It started going off into other things.
yeah,
And then there was a point where, and it's still up because I'm not trying to hide anything, but there's a point where there's these discussions when it's not a discussion about what's going on. It's like somebody trying to personally attack you.
hmm,
And for me, I was like, oh, well, let's
hmm,
use this also as a way to kind of show people, yeah, there's a difference of opinion between everybody, but there's a way that even though somebody might be focused on trying to, hurt your feelings, that you can still talk and have a discussion with them. And share your point of view, even if they don't like it. But this high school grade, mentality about I'm gonna bully you into thinking of something, or
Yes.
I'm gonna showcase on you and try to do it. It's like it doesn't work with me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let me use this as an example. Say, hey, this is what you have that you have a problem with. Okay, here's the
Yeah.
answer. Because a lot of times I don't think people look at that either.
Yeah.
People ask for an answer and then you give it to them. And when you do give it to them, they don't like the answer. And so they want to keep deconstructing and make it even worse,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why is this happening? This is
Yeah.
why this is happening.
Yeah.
No, that's not. It's what I think. Okay, well, you're allowed to think that.
And you know what's interesting, man, is like the three of us talked earlier about the different things that we pre-ordered, and some of us pre-ordered them, and some of us didn't, right?
Right.
But like, at no point when MC said, hey, I got this on pre-order, did I say to him, man, why in the world did you do that? That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
that was shit. It's a hard, that was an easy pass for me. At no point did I do that. Hey, you know what? I think I might pass on this one. I'm not sure, or I'm on the fence. I didn't try to talk him out of it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't order that from Mezco because if you stop ordering, then I'll get more accessories next time. Like I didn't say that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, go for it. Let me know what you think when you got it in hand. Um, you know, but everyone's different. Everybody's different.
Hmm.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
But the one common thing we have is a love for figures, and I don't understand why that can't be enough to just kind of pull everybody together, right? If we didn't love action figures, we wouldn't be there. Um,
Yeah.
you know, it, for every one figure, I'm assuming that any company gives you, there's got to be two or three that you love. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there, right? If everything they were putting out was just garbage, you wouldn't be there. You wouldn't have a collection. You wouldn't be doing this. You'd be doing something far more mature and adult, like buying stocks or NFTs.
Yeah. You would be broke too because everything is awesome. Because
Yeah,
everything is
yeah,
awesome. You'd be broke.
yeah, yeah. If
What
yeah, if
if
you had to just
every
buy
figure?
everything, yeah,
Yeah, what
yeah,
if every Marvel Legend, what if every
mm,
Mythic Legion, every Mezco, every figure was just a home run,
mm,
even third parties? You would go broke.
yeah,
So it's okay. It's
yeah,
something, whether character or whether it be just you don't like the way that it's designed, it's okay that you don't
yeah,
like it. Everything doesn't have to be perfect.
In the
Uh,
Marvel Legends group, I've noticed um, there are people that are really hard on the MCU figures. They're like, oh, they're all trash, even though it's same body, Wolverine.
yeah,
And like, how
yeah,
Hasbro
right.
said, oh, that figure's trash, or I'm never going to buy a MCU figure. It's only straight comics for me. And then the other side is the people that are like, oh, those comics are outdated and they're
Mhm.
trash. It's like so much. Again, just appreciate what you got in front of you, and quit
Mm,
shitting in somebody else. Like,
yeah. And another thing that I think is that could be said is too, like, I'm not down on anybody's opinion about, like, if you don't like a figure, it's totally fine. Or if you have a conception like, oh, this came out and I want them to put out licensed figures, but they keep putting this other stuff out, even though you kind of explain the process to somebody. And
mhm.
that's fine. I was like, okay, well, what don't you like about the figure? Because you can sit there and say pass or trash and all this other stuff, but there's no information that you could get out of that that a company could see and say, okay, what can we work on? All you're saying is passion trash. And you don't get it. Like I said, there's no discernible information out of it. So that's why sometimes in the group I say, well, what don't you like about it or something like that. And a lot of times it's not anything. There's some people that come up with some very good reasons, but that's stuff that you could take and they can see. I don't like that effect that it doesn't have double jointed elbows. Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. It's Spider-Man and maybe it should have more articulation. Or I
Mhm.
don't like the body because when I had it, the legs cracked and stuff like that. They need to improve on the plastic molds or the design. Bam, that's something that you get as opposed to trash. Because all that stuff
yeah,
we all know there are people either secretly or actively in those groups that look at that stuff. But if you're
yeah,
looking in a group and you're not getting any information out of it, why would they stay in there?
yeah.
Now this is really good. Paul always has good questions. I mean, good comments. But he said, "I would love to see people promote more positivity, like Anthony Hernandez posted the other day." So he was in his group. He's in the collective. I don't. I'll probably butcher it. The collective collectors group. This is the other Mezco group, and he acknowledged that there were delays, and he acknowledged the fact that he loved the line. He'd been there since the beginning, but he still thinks that it's a good line. And he did mention that no, nothing is perfect, and there was people in there, of course, that were saying, "Yep, this is the kind of stuff." And nobody's trying to like push a bunch of positivity down people's throat. It's just to kind of balance stuff out, because otherwise, all we would have is just a bunch of negative conversations in the group. So I commend him for that, because he is a group leader, and I would think that that's what group leaders do. You gotta like make the situation better even when times aren't good. They're not putting out a lot of figures, as opposed to today when they just dropped a bunch, stuff. But you know what I mean? But I think that was a good thing that he did.
I didn't see it. I didn't see that post.
It was good. But like I said, like we talked about before, usually there's always somebody that comes in, and I don't know if it's a balance, just like how people want to be positive when there's a bunch of negativity. I think it works both ways. Somebody's like, this is too positive for me. I don't like what's going on here. I want to kind of balance it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
I'm trying to show that, I can think on both sides, but I think somebody like that. But that's just, I can't comprehend that, because it's like, that guy over there is having fun. What can I do to, make it bad for him?
I feel like anybody that feels that way is spending too much time online. Like, I get my negativity offline, right? And I think you and I have talked about this before. Like, in-person world, I deal with enough negativity to where when I'm spending my free personal time online in these groups, I'm not coming here for any garbage, right? Like, I'm coming here because I had a rough day at work. I'm home. I'm ready to enjoy my figures. I'm ready to see what's coming out. I'm ready to see, something cool that somebody's doing with theirs, how they're displaying it or taking photos. To me, it's all about the escape. And I think, in all fairness, I think that's the reason why a lot of us do collect is because these action figures are an escape. Let's be honest. These aren't things that like we need, but they're an escape. They're a distraction from life and real world. Kind of get the chance to create your own world, whether it be in photos and dioramas, whatever it is like that. The negative stuff, I can get that healthy dose anywhere else. If somebody's looking for it, by all means, I can point them in the right direction and tell them where they can find the in-person negativity if that's what you're looking for. There's no shortage of it out there.
Yeah. And see, what do you think?
I agree with Cory. I mean, what I do for work, so there's a lot of negativity in my world, and again, I like to come on and talk to my friends and see what we're working on. Obviously we send each other a lot of messages of what we're doing and what we're working on and getting each other's opinion. I like that. I like that aspect, the positive community, even if it's like constructive criticism, it's still good. It's not like, oh, that idea sucks. We never say that to each other. It's always like, oh, maybe do this a little bit or change this. What do you like about it? What don't you like? And I don't know. I like that. I don't like reading past trash, garbage.
Yeah.
Mezco, fucking delayed whatever again. I just, sorry. I shouldn't have. Got to put a disclaimer now at the beginning of the video.
I don't do that. What I say is what I say. So,
the trash thing really bothers me. The trash, just that statement, trash.
And
it's trash.
I know we talked about it before. Like, somebody out there, like got their break in designing a figure. Maybe that was their first one, and then to read like, your mold is trash. Like all this work that you put your heart and soul in your first job or whatever. Or maybe it's your last figure. It's your 50th figure that these guys are making. Yeah, I should have thick skin, sort of. But still, it still hurts, I'm sure. And
maybe it's your selfie figure.
Hey, you got that, right? Have you gotten that in the mail, MC?
It shipped today. So the Sawyer mini selfie figure shipped. It's coming from Mexico.
Did it really? It's shipping that fast?
Yeah, from Mexico.
Wow.
I got the notification earlier today, and I was going to tell you guys, and I forgot all about it, and then you just reminded me. So
wow, I'm regretting not doing it now.
I'm
excited. You'll have your chance. I think it's still up, right?
Is it?
Yep, I think it's still $60. I know there was a rumor that came out that it was going to be 80 or something, but
I thought it would be like a 1-year wait. It's shipping that fast?
Yeah. I got like a couple updates. Like one, your head is printed or something, and then 2 was it's on the body that you chose, and then it's going to packaging, and then now I just got a shipping email. So, all within, what was that, 2 weeks ago? That was the pre-order, something like crazy like that. So
I can't wait to see what you think.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I want one now.
It's still up. I don't know if it's for the 60 or the 80, but it's still up. You bring up a good point though, because this is another thing that I had on here was communication. And a lot of this stuff, I know we talked about it, but I know that there's improvements, I guess I would say, on both sides for all of these things. You know, like, but communication is probably the biggest one that kind of sways to one side, because you just mentioned this company told you that it was getting packed up, it was getting painted and everything else like that. And I know that it helps to be able to know where in the process you are because everything is so visible now. But is this something that you feel companies are, how do I say it, obligated to do now?
No, I mean, I know it sounds horrible. I don't need to be updated every step of the way. I think I told you guys before, when I ordered a vehicle, like I kept getting updated, and it just made like it harder. Like, oh, it's in paint. Why is it in paint for a week and a half? And then why is it here? Like how long does it take to run down the damn assembly line with a can of paint? Like to me, I don't know. It just surprised me when it comes. I'm not an impatient. I mean, I know I get a little impatient, like, oh, it's out for delivery today. Oh, now I gotta wait. But that's normal. But I don't care as long as it's done right. That's all I care about. I guess I'm on the far end where I really don't care about communication so much. It'll come to me when it comes to me. I mean, man, I'm not gonna lie. I want things, but I can be patient. So I didn't have to shake boxes on Christmas Eve. So
yeah, I think about that all the time too. I always wonder if there's somebody in a group just sitting there, and it's like I said, they're obviously with this Union Gomez. There's a bunch of construction workers that I didn't know that are actually in that industry, right? And so you see things differently when you're in that perspective. So I always wondered if there's people in some kind of like aspect, whether it be shipping, like delivering your stuff. That's why I talked to CTG that one time because he was a FedEx driver, and I had him come on and say, "What's your day like? What do you go through?" And he was going through all of this stuff and all these little protocols. Like he was telling me, he goes, technically, he doesn't have to bring that package up to your doorstep. I guess there was some kind of rule that said if you were driving, you could put it in their driveway, and that's it, and that goes with the protocol. I don't know if that's word for word, but he said that that's something that he doesn't have to do. And I was like, I did not know that. Or you know how some people just leave the package at the doorstep. He was telling me that what they're supposed to do is if they knock, you're not there. They're supposed to take it and put it back on the truck and go back, and it goes back out to the flight line and everything else. So there's all these little things that we don't know about. But I always wondered if somebody was in the group and they're the ones that painting the figures or the eyes or something, and they read a comment saying, "Yeah, this is messed up. This sucks," and they're like, "F you, dude. I spent 12 hours in the shop working on that junk for you, and you're just like crapping on my work." And it's like, so.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to get in the way or anything. I just want to respond. Grumps was saying that if you don't like negativity, why would someone saying a trash is, stay with you and bother you? People's opinions don't stick with me. You know what I mean? Like I probably couldn't tell you who made those comments or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go to a group that's supposed to be like a fan page, right? And I say, "Hey, I got this today. I love it." And your response to me is, "That figure's trash."
Mm-hmm.
For one, like I don't give any credence to your claim because you're not telling me why or explaining it, right? Like you're not saying, "Oh, well, I wish it had," like to your point, double jointed elbows or something like that. To me, it would be similar to, could you imagine getting married and when they say, does anyone object? Someone just stands up and just says, "She's a hoe." You know, what,
Sorry.
Yeah.
why? Right? Why has this woman that I've selected to be my wife a hoe? Just
Yeah.
because you don't like her, so you chose her to be a hoe. So this
Yeah.
action figure that I like, right, that brings me some sort of joy, and that I chose to spend my money on, and that I've also chosen to share with you as a community, right? Why should I enjoy you jumping on it and just saying, "Well, it's trash"? Yeah. Well, tell me why. Why is this trash? You know, I'm not the only one that bought it. Thousands of other people bought it. You know, I don't own a McFarlane figure. I think I've talked about this all the time. I don't own a single one. He's making a bunch of them. Obviously, a bunch of people are buying them. It doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
But not once have I gone online and just been like, you know, McFarlane's trash.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like them. It doesn't float my boat. You know, but you know, I keep it pushing. You know, as you guys know, I mean, I went as far as to create our own group to avoid the negativity because that's not what I'm there for.
Right.
And like I said, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and you don't have to like it, but I also don't have to listen to your opinion, right? If I post something, I'm sharing it. I don't have to like your response or need your response or read your response. The block button is very accessible to everyone. You know,
Right.
I'm not afraid to use it. But I'm certainly not going to go back and forth with anyone that just jumps on a post and just says, "Well, this is trash," because you can't even explain to me why you feel that way, other than you know you probably just couldn't afford it.
Yeah. I think that's important too. I'm not, and talking about it doesn't mean that it affects me, it or anybody. Do you know what I mean? I just see the ripple effect that goes along with it. And I'll speak personally. If I'm in a, like you just said, if I'm in a group and that group is created and designed to promote, inform, and share art and photos, and the idea that everybody in this group likes it. Not all the time, doesn't have to be for everything, but if everybody likes that, I don't understand what you're bringing to the table by just being negative about it. I understand you got a bad day. Or the delivery didn't go the way, the figure was broken or something like that. That stuff I understand. I'm applying it more to people that it's more of their motivation every single day just to say something bad about it. And that always points it out to me. It's like, okay, well, if this really sucks, I've said it before, if it sucks, why do you still continue to buy it? And nobody ever has an answer for it.
Why did you buy two? Right? It sucks,
Well,
but I
yeah,
bought two. I bought two. I have
and I'm
extra.
exposed
Yeah,
to it more. I see it more.
yeah.
And that's these are some people are casual eyes. But if I, not trying to put anybody on blast, but if I see you saying you don't like something and you're selling two or three of them, not in just this group but another group,
Yeah,
yeah, and you can't say you're supporting your hobby because you're buying it. You're buying two and you're selling it. You're not keeping one.
yeah.
Or or you're constantly, or if I've seen you for years complain about the fact that this company's practices suck, I don't want that kind of negativity in the group. Every once in a while I totally get it. Catwoman sucks. You're not hurting my feelings. I don't own shares. I don't work for them. But there comes a point when it's just constant negativity and you have to ask yourself, hey, well, why are you collecting it?
Yeah.
Why do you still want to do it? Because there's other brands out there that are definitely going to be better for you.
Yeah.
And some of these, like, I did want to hit on two of these things really quick because I saw the comment, uh, and like you said here, he said negativity. As men, do we just get? Yeah, I think so. I think everybody wants to see a train wreck and stuff like that, but there has to come a point where it's just like it's too obsessive.
As men,
yeah. Well, I get it. It's like
as
it's
men,
like
don't we get up killing out of
there
men
has to be some kind of stuff. I'm not like shitting
As
on
men,
anybody's
don't
opinion.
we
I'm
get
trying to
killing out of
understand it a little bit more because to me it just doesn't make sense. Like I said, I keep using the example. It's like you go into a theme park, you pay a bunch of money, and you walk in there and you say, I hate Disney World, I hate Universal. Well, why do you keep paying money for it? Why do you keep going? Why do you keep doing that stuff? Because what you're doing is and that's another part of it, is what you're doing is I get it, you don't like it, but now you're affecting other people. People may be mentally strong enough to do it, but there are people, and then toxic. It just spreads. It does spread, and uh, that's the part I don't understand. I'm more focused to see what's in the likes and what they don't
Maybe that
like,
was
so I
just
can go back in.
sarcasm. I'm gonna chalk that one up as sarcasm. Joy out of
Well, yeah,
negativity.
it's hard. It's hard to
I'm gonna
do.
take.
Trevor said
I have a
something
hard time
too.
wrapping my mind around joy
Yeah,
out of negativity.
I,
Yeah.
I can't.
Don't they call that what's that, masochism? What do they call that when you
Yeah,
when you enjoy
Yeah,
when you
well,
enjoy?
I
That's
wanna. I'm
50
not
shades
making
of
fun of
gray right
anybody.
there. Like
Yeah, I'm not making fun of anybody. I want to understand it. I
yeah.
do because and that's me trying to relate to it and try to understand it. And it's not going to fix the problem. But the thing is that like you said, it's really weird when somebody just keeps saying blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Somebody could say that about this. It's like, oh, this is what you guys talk about. It's no, it's trying to understand a problem because if there's a problem that you don't like about it, I always pose that question. Why do you keep going back to it if it's not getting any better? If it's been years. And Trevor said people like to know where their stuff is, no matter what it is. I think every company should have some information on their site as to where the wave of the figure is in production stage. I know Mythic Legions does this, and this is stuff that I can understand too. Where even though we talked about it, and some people may look at it and go, they might micro evaluate everything and go, well, it's in the paint process. Why is it here for so long? But I do understand this. But I also like raise the question sometimes about when would it be good enough? Because uh, I saw this happen. Mythic Legions, they were not everybody got their product the same time other people did, and that was a problem. People were like, "Hey, this guy, he got his figure. Why didn't I get mine? I'm closer to the facility where they distribute, or I ordered before this person." And there's certain things that happen, and I saw that with that. At least that was my interpretation of it. Like I saw this, and I'm like, this is a company that already has a stellar reputation, and they have to put out this email
hmm
because prior to this, they
hmm
that's what they've been known for: communication, delivering on time, all these other positive things. And it's like they make one little slip or perceived slip, they have to send out these emails and like, hey, we're working on it. And it's like, I don't want companies to get into that. I don't want anybody to feel like obligated like that. Yeah, you know, he who shall not be named, that's a little bit different. I could see somebody saying, hey, I think it warrants some kind of message. But something like this with a company that's, had a good reputation, I feel bad for them.
Four Horsemen, I would almost say they're accessible to a fault. Just
Yeah.
from what I've seen, like those guys, like they're actively involved in that group. I'm almost willing to bet they read every post that's on there, and they'll respond, online to people and their complaints and things like that. And you can tell that these are guys that are passionate about their brand.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they're passionate about what they do. And I have faith in that, just from what I've seen. So I don't need to see an email from them saying, hey, we're trying. I already know you guys are trying. If I don't have it yet,
Right.
I'm willing to wait. Like they've given me no reason to doubt them at this point. So I don't, it kind of bothered me that they felt like they had to get these messages out there, not to send one email, but then to turn around and have to send a second email the next day. Um, it's a shame that they felt, like that was something that they had to do, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially when they do create such a great product, and like you can't really fault them for that.
Right.
A lot of things that are not in people's controls today. A lot. It's not the world we're operating in now. If anyone is involved in management or anything like that, I manage for a living, and what I can say is the expectations that we have and the folks that work for us now compared to 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
our standards have dropped. Like you're not going to get that same commitment, loyalty, productivity from an employee now that we got 3 years ago. It just doesn't happen. Like those days are over. I pray that at some point those days return and we can get a little bit, back to pre-COVID times. But I'm afraid that those times are gone. Like I'm not sure if you could ever unwind the clock and get back to where we're at. I think the world has changed. I think we've permanently kind of moved forward and we're gonna have to get used to the new norm.
Well, will personal touches like this, would that, do you think it would make build better community like ties or customer service ties? Because, and I guess would it apply to just ones that are like maybe faulting or failing in that aspect? Like you said, Four Horsemen, obviously that's a good standard bearer.
Yeah.
But if this was
Yeah.
applied to something like, and it's really weird. I understand the concept, but whenever this gets brought up, I always look at it and I go, yes, you're saying that. I agree with you. But then you take the real world examples and how, and going back to community, when it's applied, this is what happens. And
Yeah.
this is what I try to tell people. Yeah, it would be cool to say, this project is here. This is getting shipped from here. It'll be here on this day. It got delayed. Guess what? Here's an email.
Yeah.
Right? That in a perfect world, that would be great to see. But then when it comes to the community, and that's the part the communication part, yeah, the company. The community part, maybe having a little bit better like acceptance of the information.
Yeah.
Instead of just calling bullshit every single time. Because like I said, Horsemen, Marvel Legends, like you see them doing that.
Yeah.
They've even pushed their dates back now.
Yeah.
Stuff is next year.
Yeah.
And you know, there's the pricing. People have said stuff about pricing with Mezco and other figures. Marvel Legends has been raising their prices. They've been pushing back their stuff.
Yeah.
And it's something that's going to affect all these companies. But in real world, like time, I always point to that. I was like, yeah, you guys are saying this, but look at what you're doing over here. They're communicating with you, and this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
That doesn't give any company any incentive.
You know, Mythic Legions used to do an in-stock sale. They would do it every Friday at 1:00, and Four Horsemen would do a real great job of letting you know, hey, we're going to have this sale on 1:00 on Friday, limited quantities, get in, get out, right? Like they would literally put that on the email. And every week at 1:30, you know, because these things would sell out in 45 seconds or less. Like I got things, but I would literally jump on, grab one item, check out, get out. You got guys that are in there trying to get all of the items, you know, and check out. And of course, they're missing out. So every Friday at 2:00, you had these people in the group saying, you know, I hate these ISS sales. This is stupid. You know, they shouldn't do it. Well, guess what happened? They stopped.
They stopped doing the sale.
They don't do the ISS sales like that anymore. And it's really unfortunate because it gave you an opportunity as a new collector to get some of those items that you might have missed out on at retail. And at Four Horsemen's costs, you know, if anybody knows, it's almost like half of what you would get at retail. And it's probably, you know, 25% of what you would pay on the secondary market to get these figures. So I, as a new collector to Mythic Legions, was able to get a lot of wanted figures every Friday, you know, $26. You know, I was getting a new figure because I would just jump in, jump out, get what I wanted. And then there was so much complaining that Four Horsemen, I'm going to assume is why, they just said, okay, we're not going to do it anymore.
Right.
You know, a few people were happy, but everyone else is complaining that didn't get anything. So we're just not going to do it. And, you know, I think now it's been, Jesus Christ, I don't know, it's probably 8 months since the last ISS sale, you know, somewhere around there. Like they just haven't done it anymore. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
You were just mentioning, sorry to interrupt, but secondary market, or, you know, getting at their cost. I just looked up Headless Horseman on eBay because that made me think, like, what is this thing going for?
Yeah.
There's a $250 buy it now.
Yeah.
That's
well, I know I paid it, but I can't remember. What was it retail?
120?
20 something? Yeah.
120-ish, Cory. Do you remember?
I believe it was 120 and that all in was 150, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Like that.
Yeah, it was like like 140 something. You got the pins and all that stuff too. I was such a rookie with that. I was like,
I didn't get it first. You know, Cory sent me Sawyer a couple Mythic Legions, a skeleton and a goblin because he likes those. This is the other Mythic, and I it's cool.
Well, so we identified the problem. So what could be something that could be done, like to obviously we're not going to solve the world's problems when we're collecting more problems, but
I'm not getting off there until we do.
No, well, then we'll be streaming for the next 2 months, and I only get so many hours for free. But yeah, what's something? I mean, obviously, like I said, this is obviously talking about the problem to kind of bring it up, not to like bash on anybody, but to show that there's a problem. What is something that even in the chat too? What's something that can be done to like help it? Because obviously, it's causing this friction and strain between companies and collectors. Collectors don't feel like they're being listened to, and companies are like, I can imagine what they're probably thinking.
Yeah.
You know, they're giving this stuff, and they're like, well, you guys, you asked for this stuff, we give it to you, and it's not good
Yeah.
enough. So there's that. Where's the middle ground with it?
The band hammer.
The ban hammer. I don't think they can do that.
I'm just kidding.
I'm surprised that they don't do that in those chats, those live streams and stuff like that. I'm telling you, it's so you have so much access, more access than before. Like when we were kids and growing up, we were spoon fed what we were given, and we just took it anyway. Like as kids, because you just want to have fun,
Mm-hmm.
which should be taken in your adult life. But you didn't have that kind of access to companies. You have like personal access to some of these people, and like some of the things that we do have issues with, or we think that can be improved on, could probably be done like that.
What I'd be curious to know is that everyone wants to talk about pre-orders and things like that. And so I guess the question would be, as collectors, do we prefer the idea of knowing that companies are literally allowing us not to miss out? Or would you rather them just guess a quantity, produce that item, and then, whatever's there is there? Like, how would people feel about that? Like, if Mezco just said, hey, you know what, which I think they kind of did earlier on, it seemed like, they said, hey, you know what, we're going to make 1,500 Punishers. We're going to put these up for sale. It's not going to be a pre-order. It's just, this is in stock. 1,500 collectors are going to get one. The rest of you just not, right? How do we feel about that type of thing? Because then you fall victim to having to buy stuff on a secondary market, right? And you end up with things like the White Skull Assassin, things like that. So it doesn't seem like it would ever be feasible, because it's not a good business model to make too many and then have to waste, right? Like
Right.
that doesn't do them any good. So myself as a collector, I hate missing out on something that I really want, because if I really want it, I'm going to end up buying it on the secondary market, and then I'm going to end up paying way too much for it.
Mm-hmm.
But as a person that hates layaway, like I don't want a lot of updates. Like don't remind me, because Galactus is kind of a good comparison. Galactus we ordered a year ago, right? A little over a year ago. Was that July of last year? It's supposed to be shipping here.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't talk a lot about Galactus. I think we got a couple updates. I saw, I think back in March, I think they showed you a photo, and then here recently they showed you kind of like a final project. That's perfect for me, right? Like, let me know, hey, this is what it's looking like. Hey, it's almost done. I don't need to see anything else until you tell me it's in the mail. Like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know anything else. Don't remind me. I try not to forget about it. I hate layaway. That's my mother traumatized me with layaway growing up. I think I've told that story before.
Yeah.
Anytime we got stuff and started walking towards the back of the store, like we knew that was bad news, right? Like the cash register's that way. Why are we going to the back?
Yeah.
Good old mom.
Yeah. Tap in. I wanted to say it. Yeah, I wanted to say it.
Do I type it from here?
How do I do
that?
Yeah, you're already in there. You and MC already got it. MC, really quick. I want to get to some of Trevor's points, because they are. I don't want anybody to think that I'm not getting to them. But hey, tap in. So for if you don't know, there's giveaways. If you tap in, you just type tap in. First 5 people that do it get entered in. So I know it's a new thing. So I want to make sure everybody has a chance to get in there and do it. I'm going through, so if I highlight some of this stuff, negativity is coming from different perspectives of the community. Yeah, and this is a good point too. Negativity thing, everyone's coming from different perspective. I know it's also subjective. Somebody, and we don't have tone and everything else like that. Somebody might be saying something just like they did in the chat earlier, and you don't know what they're really saying or how they're saying it. It could be like something like sarcasm or anything else like that. But I'm only talking about the people that you absolutely can tell for sure. I hate this company. And then that's the point I get. I understand everybody has their own opinion about things, and I'm not trying to shoot anybody down. Like I said, I'm trying to understand it better, because to me, it just seems like a dead end road. You hate it, you hate it, you hate it. I get it. Where do you want to go with it? Uh, Trevor has. Let's see here. This is. I wanted to make sure I highlight this. This is some reason. There is some reason we've been waiting for 2 or 3 years on figures. They need to communicate, even basic explanation as to why. Totally agree. If it's a factory backup, COVID issues and materials, whatever, I totally agree. I think if there's something, that's why I pointed out the fact that there's things that need to be worked off on both sides. Yes, a company, whoever they are, should put out some kind of update or explain to their customers because it is a paying customer. The example that I'm also trying to bring to the table is like when they do that, how is it received? Because we see examples of it all the time. That's something that the company needs to work on, and that's something the community needs to work on, accepting the information. Because you know what happens, and I know he's specifically talking about Mezco, but there's other companies that do it too. But what happens is as soon as you tell someone or they say it,
Yep.
it's just a flood of negativity. Oh, that's bullshit. You're just trying to do this. And so it
Yep.
becomes this gray area. Where do you go with it?
Yeah.
And I think that that's where they are. Mezco, I think, is a different company than other companies because things like Super 7 or Four Horsemen, they initially started off like that. Does that mean that Mezco made an error and that's how they should have handled it before? You don't know. But if they did, obviously they were doing it before something happened and they just said, you know what? It's not worth having a conversation because every time we do, it just keeps getting rammed down our throat. And I think that they looked at that and they said that they were like, you know what, we're gonna put out our product, and if people like it, they're gonna buy it, and if they don't like it, they just won't buy it. And I know it's a hard stance, but we all know that there's other company owners and figureheads that say the same thing. I mean, isn't Martin McFarland had a hard time putting articulation in some of his figures, and everybody that would collect that line kept pounding him about it and saying, "You need to do
You're
it."
not
And he's
allowed to
just,
say that. You're not allowed to say that. They're gonna get you.
they are.
They're gonna
Well, I
get you.
don't.
You can't say that. you can't.
No,
You
no
can't say that. They're
disrespect,
gonna,
Mr.
yeah.
McFarland. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
just stating what I
Yeah.
was
The
told.
side eye.
Saying,
Yeah.
yeah, saying
McFarland side.
nothing is unacceptable. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, it's not saying that a company doesn't have the responsibility to communicate. It's saying yes, that's the area of improvement, but what's also
Yeah.
the area of improvement for like collectors? There's so many examples. Like you can get on the internet and see it. A company will
Yeah.
say, "Hey, this is what's going on," and there's immediate backlash. And so, what's the incentive for them to keep communicating? That's my point. It's not saying that they have a blanket and they shouldn't talk to people.
Yeah. But even
Uh,
that, I think, is kind of a change that you're seeing with a lot of these companies. Hasbro seems to have kind of taken the tactic of, well, what we're going to do is we're going to tell you that it's going to be 8 months before you have it in hand, and then
hmm,
you've got it 8 weeks later. You know, right? Like they're all these new figures that are getting released. Like these were things that weren't supposed to be in hand until 2023, and they're shipping already.
hmm,
Um, so they've kind of gone the other route. But you know, if someone doesn't know, right? Then I don't know what else they can tell me other than, hey, I don't know. When is this going to get done? What I really don't know when it's going to get done. I can't, like I said, I manage for a living, and sometimes folks will say things to me, customers or whatever, and well, I don't understand this. Well, you know what? I
hmm.
can't explain it to you either. Like I wish I had a better explanation that I could offer you right now. Without spending all the time letting you know what I'm going through at this point.
Right.
But sometimes I just don't have a better answer for you either. So maybe because of my background, I have a little different understanding or expectation of those type of things. Because I struggle on a daily basis trying to get people to do what it is that you're supposed to do.
Right.
Um, Try to hire and maintain staff that'll come in and do what we're asking them to do. And every day, like it's a different challenge. So I can only imagine what it's like as a toy manufacturer when you're dealing with factories and shipping and trying to keep all that together and in line. And I guess I would love to see a little behind the scenes as far as like with Mezco, like how many factories are involved in producing something like this Union Gomez? Like I
Hmm.
have to imagine the coats coming from one place The tools are coming from another place. The tool belt might be coming from another place. Like you're outsourcing, I would assume, a lot of different places and try to tie that all in together. It's probably a logistics nightmare right now. I would imagine.
Yeah, it's man, it's such man. There's just so many layers. There's really how Matt. I'm sorry, I'm going through some of this stuff. So the tap in is closed out. These are our first one. Don't worry, there's going to be another one. It'll probably be pretty soon because I don't want to keep these guys over for too long. But just to let you know, there'll be another opportunity. Congrats to those 5. I want to get back to it because there's a lot of chat about this. Let's see here. Doesn't matter because, and I understand. I always like Trevor's perspective of it because he, like I said, he does work with companies and he also works like we've been talking about with Four Horsemen, and obviously they're a little bit better with this, but they may see him. So it doesn't matter how it's received. They can walk away after the end of the same end result for them, but they still may hear bitching, but it may help in some cases. Yeah, I sometimes wonder if like some companies are aware enough to where they're like, you know what, we're gonna get backlash from it. You know, why they insinuate it. I don't really know how to. I get what he's saying. I think I used the car reference last time with this. It's like, you know, when you're in the back. I'm not saying collectors are kids, but like with some of this stuff, you're constantly saying your kids are back in the back and they're saying, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" And you're like, "No, we're not. No, we're not." And then even if you if you had this long trip and say it was going to take you 8 hours, but everybody kept saying that, and then all of a sudden traffic happens, and now it's 10 hours, and now it's 14 hours, but you keep saying, "Are you there yet? Are you there yet?" And then at a point it becomes where you keep telling them that we're not there yet. That doesn't solve the problem because, like you said, there's other factors involved with this: the materials, logistics, and that's where that trap I think some of the companies will fall into is like, man, we just have to keep saying it's delayed, and it's not stopping the problem. The problem is that whatever this stuff is delayed, and we can't do anything about it.
Yeah. You know, to me, it seems like, and this is just my opinion or my perspective, but it seems like a lot of these companies, like every single one kind of has a different personality, if you will. You know, like
Yes.
Four Horsemen seems to be a different vibe than from like NECA. You know, NECA seems to handle things differently than, you know, let's say Super 7. You know, Super 7 is different than, you know, Figure Arts, which I don't think I've ever heard anybody say anything. Figure Arts doesn't seem to ever say anything to anybody, but nobody ever says anything about them. You know, like every company seems to be a little different. You know, I've collected Mezco long enough to where even Mezco, the way they go about their business, that just seems to be their personality, you know. They're kind of rebellious, if you will. I think there's a reason why Gomez is kind of like their mascot. Like to me, I just imagine the company to me is they're kind of very in your face. You know, this is how we're going to do things. You know, if you don't like it, you know, there's several things like they say in that song that you can choose to do if you would like to. And you know, they kind of, without directly releasing messages, they kind of release messages. You know.
Does that bother you? I hate to interrupt you, but like, does that bother you? Because I know that there's some people that they think it's a jab.
I think it's a jab too. Yeah. I think it's a jab too, but I guess I find it funny.
Well, do you take it personally though?
I don't take it personally. I think, but I do think like that's their way of taking shots at people that take shots at them publicly, right? You know, should they as a company be above that? Maybe, you know. But they chose, this is the approach that they took.
MC, what about you? Do you think, like, when you see stuff like that, do you take it personal, or do you think it's?
I mean, I don't bitch usually about this stuff, honestly. Right. Yeah. So, and I think it's great, you know, like, and we kind of discussed it a little bit earlier, you know, like everybody that's bitching about delays, like guess what happened today? And I think it's just like the first couple flurries from a big snowstorm, they're going to hit us. We're going to get a blizzard and people are going to be bitching that they don't have the money, or they're going to say, oh, I canceled that pre-order, or I don't, you know, because we talked about this. A lot of people are very prideful, and it sucks with the economy right now. Now they can't afford it, and they're getting hit all at once, and they got to pick and choose what they want.
Yeah.
And you're going to get what you asked for, I think, really soon. I mean, look at all the pre-orders we've talked about off, that we've all received from different companies over the last 2 weeks. It's like, I can't keep up. I can't unbox half the shit that I got in the mail the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Throwing stuff in closets so I don't get yelled at, hiding stuff for Sawyer's Christmas, and like, wow, did I order this? Like, oh, I got 2. How the hell did this happen? But no,
I'm sorry.
I don't take it personal with the shots at all. I think it's great. It's like you can it's like you're gonna talk shit, but you're gonna be mad when somebody talks shit back to you. Like,
I look at it like that. I get, but it does. I also look at the other side of it too. I understand that somebody that when you're so frustrated about something, and it's almost like that is poking them more. I understand it's the marketing part, and they're trying to make light of maybe the situation, or maybe that is their way to kind of like snap back at people. And for somebody to take it personal, I mentioned that to somebody before too. He said, "Oh, he goes, they're just giving us the middle finger." And I sent him a private message. I was like, "Hey man," I was like, "You said all these things." I go, "What's the difference?" Yeah, well, I was like, "What's the difference?" And we talked, and that was one of the cool things. We had a conversation. It was offline, but we had a conversation. He goes, "I just don't think that it's fair." He goes, "Not fair. I don't want to say." That's not what he said. He goes, I don't think it's cool that they would do that. I'm frustrated about this process. I'm frustrated with the way things are going. And even though I said those negative things, I don't think that should be turned back around on me, which is another reason I was saying, like the community, how they handle certain things. Because all this stuff is on the internet. It doesn't go away. The internet never forgets. And so when people put stuff on there, and I'm on a lot because I am looking at this stuff. So I can see somebody when they said, this figure sucks. I've never why are they putting another Gomez out? And then you have the right to change your mind. But 6 months later, they're looking for a figure saying, "Hey, man, I really want this figure." Personally, for me, I can't look at that and have somebody that's been negative in the group or negative about the brand or all that stuff and have compassion and say, "You know what? I'll help this guy out. I know I should take the high road with it, but this is something that you weren't interested in." Like I said, maybe you changed your mind, but you made it a mission to put bad negative energy and then have other people jump in on with you. And I'm out to help a lot of people, but that is something I can't go, "Yeah, let me do this," because most of the time they take it and they flip it anyway. So, but you know what I mean? Like people gotta like really watch what they do on the internet, man. It's there.
Yeah, can't be a keyboard warrior if you can't take it back. So
this is a good thing too. Like Flynn of Super 7 recently explained levels of delay in making changes. They make the paint, they master, they ship it to them in 2 or 3 days. If the color is off, they have to make adjustments. Another 2 days, 2 day ship. And I guess that's probably not also the process for everyone, but that's probably not even including the process to recreate the paint with the correct values to send it back. And I can see you can imagine if you were just painting something like an arm gauntlet and it was something small that was holding up the whole project. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and I guess maybe that's where the communication part would be, but there's a lot of other stuff that we don't know as collectors, but we really jump on it really fast and say, "Hey, this sucks." And one thing that you mentioned too, I think that should really be brought to light. I don't know the production number. I don't know how popular some of these other companies are, but you also have to look at numbers too. That's why I don't understand people comparing Marvel Legends to Mezco and stuff like that. First off, it's a soft goods company. It's higher price point. There's more involved in it because of the soft goods, the accessories. You can't tell me there's a comparison between Marvel Legends accessories and Mezco's accessories. I'm saying what's better. There's a difference. And there's a difference with the process and the production, the design, and everything. Marvel Legends, they're shooting out plastic, and they have an established track record and licenses with these companies. It's probably easier for them to get through all this stuff. But there's other things too, like as collectors, we don't understand. I don't think that you can compare the two. So if another company, like a third party company, is putting out some, Doctor Eight Arms, and Mezco can't do it as fast as they can, they're not producing the same numbers. It's not the
Yeah.
same thing as licenses, and those are things that I think people don't take into consideration too.
Yeah.
Um,
Super 7 ran into some delays with that Thunder tank. That was due first quarter of this year, and 2022 is almost over.
how did they handle it? Did they send out a public statement, or was it glazed over? Or
If you go on their website, there's something that they it's back to retooling, which they didn't really explain what that means, because I saw they did that video about 6 or 7 months ago. They had like a finished prototype, and now it's back to tooling. So I'm not really sure what that means, or how long that's going to be. But I guess I don't have to explain that box at the porch yet.
Yeah,
that's
and I get stuff like this. I'm not shooting Trevor down, and I'm not shooting anybody down. That I guess the end part of it is where you get to the point where, okay, if it's not working for you, or the business model is not working for you, then you voiced your concerns for so long, and it's not working, then when does it stop? Like, it's obvious this is not the company. I didn't like the way another company was putting out their stuff for the pre-order, and I just stopped. I was just like, I'm not going to collect it. And so I'm not shooting anybody down about their trying to raise awareness to it too. I mean, I know that's how things get changed, but this has been the operating line for them for years. It hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And so when do you just say, okay? I'm wondering if he's talking about something more specific. Like, obviously he's talking about He Who Shall Not Be Named, and then probably Mr. Freeze and stuff like
that. You know what? I know everyone wants to bring that figure up, and
every time you do, it goes a month. They delay another month. I'm just joking.
I'm to the point, honestly, with that figure that I would prefer it just to be canceled. And I know people are going to be angry when I say this, but it's gotten to the point where that figure will never live up to the expectations. Like, this is a lose-lose, in my opinion, for Mezco at this point, because no matter what they put out there, people are going to turn it into, I waited 2 years for this, and this is what I got. This guy's got no ab crunch. He can't look up. These things that you already know aren't going to happen. And it's a no-win for them. Now, I don't know what happened. We'll probably never know what happened or what caused the delays. I can only imagine. I seem to feel like they're trying to make the perfect figure is really what they're striving for. Mm-hmm. There's obviously some sort of sentimental value for him in producing this figure, and it hasn't lived up to his expectations. Mm-hmm. Which I could commend somebody for that, and maybe he should just come out and say that. Hey, you know what? Right now, this figure doesn't live up to my expectations, and I'm not going to put it out. Mm-hmm. You're more than entitled to that, right? But I don't even want to see. They're going to John Wick it. As soon as that first in-hand promo from China comes out, that Polaroid photo, they're going to John Wick it, and everyone's going to be trying to sell them for less than retail, and then after the dust settles and everybody realizes, hey, this is a decent figure after all. Things will change, but there's a one-off. There's a one-off, I suppose, in every situation, and some things happen. Yeah. I know there's some hot boy stuff like that right now that's happening.
Yeah. Really quick, everyone tap in if you want to. I already got the first names, and then we'll get the second one. MC, what do you think? Is there any way that they can rebound from
it? Like Cory said, I mean, if it's not the best figure they've ever made, it's going to get raked through the coals, no matter what. Somebody's going to be pissed one way or another about this figure, and it's going to explode. I mean, we've seen it in groups over every little thing that somebody complains about. Oh, was it Nemo's pants or something with the threading? Spider-Man 2099's head. Just a couple little errors on a couple figures, and it's just spreads like wildfire. And I'm gonna piss off some people, but I don't care about Batman '89. I know I'm not supposed to say. I have no skin in the game. I think it's, I
How
like
dare
it
you,
when I
sir?
was a kid, but that's it. I don't
Yeah.
like it now, though. I think it's. I
Yeah.
have more compassion towards Batman '66 than I do Batman '89.
Yeah.
What's interesting is, do you think if that figure, let's say it was pre-ordered and it was released 6 months later, would that even be a figure we'd still talk about now? Like, would it even be like?
No.
Because there's other companies that have released an '89 Batman, and he doesn't seem to be that popular, right? Like for certain guys, Keaton Batman is their favorite Batman, and that's yours. I can completely understand that.
Yeah,
But I don't see the demand in these other companies with the figures that have been released by '89 Batman. It just seems like the weight has built the hunger, I guess is the best word to say it. I really think like this had just been a 6-month thing. Like this, they announced it, they came out. 2 months later, I think everyone would have stopped talking about it already. It'd have been here and gone. It would have been just about another one of those forgotten figures. If you go back and look at the figures that they've given us in the last 2 years and how good some of them were and how much lack of appreciation, like those figures have gotten, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think they got a lot smarter, and they were like, you know what? If you've noticed, with some of the pre-orders now, they don't put the estimated release date on any of that stuff anymore. There's certain, like the statue today, they did, but most of the exclusives, even during the initial run of the last two that they had, there wasn't an ERD. And when they do now, if you go back probably 4 or 5 releases, what they've done is they projected so far out beyond what they usually did. It used to be an average between like 6 to 8 months. Now they don't even do that. It's just 12 months out.
Yeah.
And I think they listened to it to a point where they said, you know what, let's just project this so far out. They already know what's going to happen. If we run into a delay or two, then it's on top of whatever the year we have. If it's early, that's good. We beat our own clock. And I think that was a good decision by them to do it. But then it does come back to the communication part, because some of that stuff has already happened, especially with Batman. I'll be honest with you. I just want it to come out, so then there'll be that whatever fire. Whether I think people are going to find a reason no matter what. It could be a good figure, and people are going to find a reason not to like it. I really hope it is a slam dunk for them, because that way it kind of helps with the weight. It's not going to take away everything, but at least it'll help. And then people can move on. And then I'm hoping that Freeze comes out so there's nothing really to latch on to. I was looking at my list the other day, and it's I think Conan.
Ghost
I have
Rider.
a list of it. Ghost Rider's there too. It was Conan, Freeze, and there's a couple of other ones. It's on my phone. I have a list of all that stuff, but how long each one of those have been in development. But those are the top ones.
Yeah.
And so I keep, it's funny, I look at something and I look at the list and I go, I wonder what's the next one that people are going to latch on to, because it's going to be something. It's always, and to your point about the making Batman '89, like when it comes out, how long it's going to last, it's funny because there's figures that have come out that everybody's made a lot of hype about. And then a couple of months later, you don't hear about it anymore.
It's like they never existed. They just go away, and you never hear about it again. Yeah.
When that Blade Mini, not Mini, I was looking at Minis. When that Blade MDX came out and there was only 2 and it got shipped out and only 2 people I have that one. So there was only 2 of them in the world. And I made some trade with this guy and I was able to get it. I'm like, okay, this is cool. They're not going to make this. Everybody was begging for that figure for like a year. That figure went up for pre-order. Everybody got it that wanted. I don't think it was a difficult process. When was the last time you saw a picture of that figure?
Yeah.
It's and that's what I mean with this. I understand there's I understand the point of it, like the communication part and wanting to understand the process or where your money is. I've told people before, I bought 6 of those things, man. I'm very invested in it, and those were already paid for. So someone that has one, dude, that's a lot of money. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but I'm not jumping up, stomping up and down because if I spent that much money on 6 of them, I want the product to be good. It doesn't absolve anybody from the explanation part of it, but I understand what somebody is meaning when they say, "Hey, I put money into this." Yeah, I put money into it too, but rushing the product is not same thing we talked about before. Rushing the product is just going to cheapen it. It's not going to make it any better. So I hope it does, but I just don't know if it's ever gonna like really live up to any of the hype. It shouldn't be a factor though. I shouldn't have to move on from Mezco. I don't need these figures. If they gave me a reason that it would take a year, I'd be okay. But tell me why. I just look at it as they're toys. They're not necessities for me. I'm not getting not to discredit what you're saying, but I don't need to eat this. I don't need to drink this, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have that much of an impact on me. And I have 26
Yeah.
other Batman that I can play.
Yeah.
There's how many other toy lines? This isn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not that big of a deal
I think
to me.
It seems like that's just Mezco though. Like, man, it's like if you remember like when I think it was probably 3 years ago when they would do like those live videos and they kind of had like little weird things going on when they would have the reveals and stuff and they'd
Yeah.
had like the clues and things like that and they used to do the and I thought it was like really cool. Hey, we're going to do this reveal and everybody was like,
Mhm.
oh, this is stupid. Why am I sitting here watching this clock run and all this kind of stuff instead of try to really and then they stopped doing that stuff anymore. Um, to me, this is kind of who Mezco is Gomez. Like I really feel like that. If you look at the Gomez character and the pink skulls, like to me, that's Mezco. Like they're the
Mhm.
rebel. They're the kind of the wild card. These
Right.
guys got to do things that are different. Um, that I think that's just a personality. I don't know the guy that runs Mezco personally. I don't know him, but it just from outside looking in, like this, they
Mhm.
seem to be pretty consistent in what they do.
Yeah.
Um, Same thing with some of these other companies, like we were saying before. Super Seven has a way of doing business. Four
Mhm.
Horsemen's they're very hands on with their community. They've gone that approach. Um, I think we as collectors have the choice to whether or not to support these companies. We do vote with our wallet, like people have said before.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I guess driving yourself crazy, waiting for a company to change the way they do things, I think you're just kind of adding to your own frustration, in my opinion. Like, yeah, it might be nice if they did,
Mhm.
but I can't control it, you know. So I try not to worry about it, right? Like I'm too worried about the things that I can control to
Yeah.
worry about that kind of stuff. Would it be nice? Yeah, like I'd love to know, and I'd love to hear a lot more about their inspiration and how they come up with some of these figures and things that they do. But I would
Mhm.
love to see more of that behind the scenes type of
Yeah.
stuff. Uh, but I'm not gonna lose sleep over it at the end of the day.
And see, what do you think? What do you?
He's loving his four horsemen over
No,
there,
I
his
just
headless horse.
like I again I hope Batman '89 is what everybody wants it to be. I hope it really is the perfect figure, and I don't have any skin in the game. I'm tired of hearing about it. Like literally, I'm tired of seeing
That's
that.
why I call it "He Who Shall Not Be Named."
Yeah. I mean, but you know right away when someone's referencing it, like, oh, why they released this, but aren't we
Mhm.
waiting for somebody else for 3 years?
Right.
Or it's been 7 years. It's like,
Yeah.
God, that
I, yeah, and
figure that doesn't have neck articulation. I'm just throwing that out there. If it's supposed to, you can't look.
There's no way he has neck articulation.
Like,
Like if they stay true to the costume design, like this,
that's what I mean. It would be inaccurate
he's
to the
static,
movie, right? And
we're
they
gonna
would catch
shoot
flack for
that
that.
pose where he's
And
at the
yeah,
moon over and over. We're gonna see, which
yeah,
I know people are gonna take great shots, and that's awesome.
mhm,
I hope you
yeah.
really
yeah,
enjoy the figure, but also to what Cory said, that's gonna dry up quick, and we'll be moving on to all the Rumble Society
Well,
Like that's why I love
Yeah.
Con. Like I like their IP more than most of their licensed stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
And I understand this point about the people's money and stuff like that too. That's why these conversations are good. Like, I don't try to silence people in the groups about that stuff. If you don't like something, or if you think that you paid money and they owe you an answer, or I just don't think that there needs to be a post about every single time. There's a dedicated post, and there's a reason for that because it's the same thing that's getting rehashed. Even if it's in the group, there's nobody in the group that can solve that problem. I know we're talking about it, and it's hopefully to like kind of educate people because I think one of the misconceptions out there is that the point that Trevor did make is like it's their money. And I've seen all these FCC posts trying to clarify certain things about how like Sideshow says that if it's 30 days, they're obligated to send an email to you and explain that and ask if you want something canceled. And maybe that's, again, this is all part of the conversation. Maybe that's something that can be taken into play with that company. So maybe that would help build that customer relationship. But there's a lot of misinformation, like we talked about in the beginning about that. Somebody says, well, I'm not going to get my NRD. And there's plenty of people that have said, you know what, I'm tired of waiting. You contact the company. They've given them back their NRD, even though it says it's non-refundable. And then there's people that have paid in full, have gotten their stuff too.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, there are people that said that they haven't. And I don't know what the scenario is with that, or, you know, maybe I don't know if it's they had opened up a case or a claims case against Mezco and they wait for that stuff to go through and they just don't want to give you the money, you know, because there's a procedure that they have to go through with that. I'm pretty sure they're not going to refund your money if you have a claims case against them. They're just going to let that play out, and then they'll, you know, evaluate it and say, hey, we need to cancel this person's account. But there are plenty of people that have said, you know, I'm tired of this, and they just contact it and they get their money back. That's why I tell people contact customer service and see what they say that about your situation. And I understand you saying it's people's money, though. Yeah, it is your money, but just like anything, you know, I have money in the stock market, and you know how the market's been the last couple of months. I mean, I've lost money, so. Do I just keep losing money, or do I talk to my person and say, hey, you need to, you know, do something different? And then if they're not doing what I did, hey, you're not fulfilling your end of the bargain. I'm gonna move on with something else, because at the end, it's like, how long do I keep enduring what I'm enduring? You know what I mean?
It's amazing how you know, with the internet and everything, like we have a level of access to these people and the ability to communicate that we've never had, you know, like in the past. You know, before all this stuff, you know, I remember when I was young, right? Like just to get a football game together, we had to go jump on bikes and go knock on everyone's door, you know, to try and get enough kids together to go play, right?
Yeah.
Whereas kids now can just send out a group message to everyone in 30 seconds and put a game together. You know, we've been spoiled a little bit by and that's just what we're used to. I think we have so much access to just instant information these days that we've kind of lost patience with things.
Yeah.
Because we're used to having it now. You know, it's like life before the microwave. If anybody can remember that, you know. Now, you know, you're sitting there watching that 3-minute timer on a microwave, and you're like, "Oh my God, how long is this burrito going to take?" Right? Like, it took a lot longer before that. So, it's you know, it's trying times. And like I said, I can understand, you know, people's frustrations. I really do. You know, and you feel the way you do. I'm not going to tell you wrong for feeling that way. I'm just saying, you know, you have to be careful about allowing yourself to be upset too much over things that you can't control. You know, and so, you know, I, as a person dealing with the health issues and things that I'm dealing with, you know, I've decided that, you know, I'm just going to focus on the positive part of it. Like, I don't need the extra stress in my life. I can't afford those type of things literally anymore. So, you know, hey, if it's not, you know, positive, and if I can't get down with it, then I'm just going to move on, because I physically can't, you know, afford to be stressed. So to let the little things worry you, I think is a bad sign. Take it from me. right? A person that's learning the hard way. Don't let those little things stress and really worry you, because the old ticker can only take so much, man. It can only
Yeah,
take so much.
yeah. MC.
I mean, to I don't like talking about my work or whatever, but come take a walk in my shoes, and you'll see life and death decisions and things to really get stressed out about every day.
Yeah.
And 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 really, when you have delays in shipments where you can't get a life-saving medication because there's a national shortage on hydralazine or insulin or whatever. That's why, like, it, that's I don't know. I guess that's the stance I take, and I really wanted to avoid it until Cory opened up the door. But
Right.
there's so much bigger things in life to worry about or get stressed out about, instead of a toy that we're supposed to enjoy and bring us fun. I mean, I don't want to call, like, I know someone keeps being upset in here, and that's their right to be upset. But how many other figures are you taking photos of right now that you're having fun with? That are filling that gap in that one or two figures that have been delayed 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I know that you've seen a lot come across your doorstep since then. So, and I mean, no disrespect to you at all, 1/6 shooter. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, no, and I want to make that very clear. Like Trevor, no, do that. Sorry, it was like, do you want to end the broadcast? I'm like, no, no. Trevor asked if we could like jump on, but I know, and it's not that. It's I want to try to wrap this because we've gone 2 hours, and so I know if it did well, I know if he got on, he would make some good points, and the conversation would keep going. I do want to have like kind of conversation, so it's like, hey man, do you want to like come on and do one-on-one, like that way, or because I am interested in what people think about this stuff. Like I said, I'm not absolving anybody or making excuses for anybody. The point of all these conversations is to kind of have, okay, I see your point, but do you understand that there's this point too? And then you talk about something and you explain it. And I get people have money that's involved in all this stuff. And it's not absolving anybody from any of this stuff. I just think that there are things that we do know through Hangouts or through some press releases or how other companies do it. And that may not even apply to some of these other companies. There's different processes. And I think just because we don't know every single thing that goes on every single day with every single project, multiple projects, that it's either making an excuse or saying that they're doing something that's right or wrong. It's flagging something to say, hey, this is the concern, and then you put it back in their court, and then you have to decide as a collector, are you okay with it? You can sit there and say, okay, yeah, communication, I want communication, I want communication. And you say, okay, well, when is communication enough? And if they did give you the communication, is it going to solve the problem? Because that's one thing too. I think a lot of some of this stuff, I know as a group and as a community, some of this stuff is individualistic. He says it's important for him. There's other people that feel that way too. And there's a couple of guys here that say it's not really a big issue. And so when does like the collecting experience become like catered? Because something that you may like, a color of shorts or the height of something or the cape wired or not wired, when does it become, more individualized than something else? I see that a lot. Somebody will say, oh, those pants, it should have been a different color. Again, I'm not stressing. I don't think a lot of people are stressing. I think it's only compared to life and death situation, but tech you're talking about. No, those are examples. When I say stock market, or I'm pretty sure when he's saying about that, it's an example. It's a comparison example. I'm not saying that they're equal. I'm saying that it's an example to kind of show it, the difference between the two.
Well, I've seen people that, they get so upset that they sell their entire collection because they're upset about the way something's going or whatever. Like, I've never been that angry about anything. I don't know what it would take for me to like just say I'm not doing this again. I'm selling my whole collection. I don't know what that would take. but I guess when I say not stressing out about it, that's the people that I'm talking about. I've literally seen people stop collecting and sell everything they own because they're that upset over it. And that's not what I'm here for, to collect, and I guess when it does get to that point where you're so upset about it, I guess maybe that is the best move. Like if it's bringing you that much unhappiness, or to it's that much of an annoyance, I guess the best move is, I guess, just kind of sell off your collection. But I would hope it would never get to that way with me with collecting. Like I go through certain times where I'll sell parts of my collection to make room for more. But to be so angry or anything, or I feel like I need to sell everything to prove a point, right? Like, I'm sure we've all seen those posts, people say, getting out of Mezco, right? And, me and you had talked about one the other day. He must have had like 4 or 5 other brands that were up for sale, but he made a comment to say, getting out of Mezco and figure arts, this or that. Well, are you getting out of all of them, or are you just getting out of just Mezco, whatever it is? But, it is what it is. Like I said, not to lose any sleep over it or anything, not to get so upset about it. Just have a good time. It's what I'm hoping people are really getting out of this. I think that's what it's all about. Just have a good time, enjoy it. Take it for what it is. Tomorrow isn't promised. Might not be around long enough to see that next pre-order. We don't want to think about it that way, but Union Gomez might be the last action figure I ever get. We never know, right? We never know. I literally had a minor heart attack last week. There's no guarantee that I'd have been around to hang out with you guys today, but I was blessed enough to get a chance to do this. So I appreciate it for what it's worth, and I definitely appreciate you having me.
Do you feel different than you did? I mean, obviously physically, but I mean mentally. Did you feel, or did you look at everything differently then than you do now? Did it put it in perspective, or you're just like, or were you? Because you seem pretty even keel, and it's been like that the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. In all honesty, like, it put a lot of things for me in perspective. And as far as like, what I should be more concerned about and, focusing my time on, because, I'm 45 years old. So in my mind, I always kind of felt like I had years, ahead of me. There's no sense to worry about any of those type of things like that right now, where, now it's more important to me to spend time doing the things that I enjoy, talking to the people that I enjoy, talking about, that's why we had the sandbox, you know what I mean? That's what that's all about. And to not waste my time with those things that just don't mean anything. Because that, in my opinion, like, I don't want to waste a minute that I'm going to regret later on. Right. Like, I'm really working hard to make sure that every minute I spend on things moving forward, that I put that towards something that's meaningful to me or to somebody else in life. Because we don't know how much more time we got. Like, we can sit around and argue about toys all day long, if we wanted to. But then when we look back at it, is that really the most effective way to spend our time? So, I'm hoping to just make differences in people's lives, try to take things a little more serious. I don't feel like I ever really overreacted with things. Like I said, I always consider myself to be kind of even keel, but I used to allow myself to get far more engaged in some of that debating and things, where to now I just won't, right? Like, I'm not going to engage in, because I can't, there's nothing that I could say today, right, that's going to change anybody else's mind. They're going to feel the way they're going to feel about it. There may be a long chance that I reach out to somebody, but more than likely it's not. So I'm not going to, spend my time trying to get you to change your opinion, enjoy talking to those folks that I do, like you guys, this type of stuff.
Yeah. And I've said it a couple times during this episode, but I really want to make sure, like, none of this is like negative. I mean, it's just talking to trying to figure out how it can be better. But I think part of it is understanding what some of the issues are. Like, everything that Trevor said, even though those comments were highlighted, I didn't take any of that personally. I don't take any of this stuff personally. I just want to have the conversation to be able to flag what I guess the issues are, and try to figure out as a community, because that's what this whole thing is about, how we can get better, but then also put ourselves in a better position to get some of these things that we would like to get from companies. Because I do think that there's a disconnect. When you look at it, you'll see companies look at us and go, I honestly sit there and I think that they look at that. They look at message boards, they look at these live streams, and they're just like, why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting on here, we're putting stuff on, we're explaining stuff. It just doesn't seem like it works.
Mm-hmm.
So they obviously feel a certain way, and we obviously feel a certain way. Okay, so that's there. What do we do to kind of like get it back together? You know, and so having these discussions, like even when Trevor was making comments, I don't take any of that. I want to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We're not arguing, it's a discussion. I want to understand how you feel about, or anybody, how they feel about it. But if you're just sitting there saying, yeah, you're wrong, sucks, trash, I mean, dude, I'm not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a
Yeah.
discussion about
Yeah.
this kind of stuff, because it
Yeah.
does. They may
Yeah.
watch 10 minutes of this, but at least they'll get something out of it
Yeah.
if they did watch it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? As opposed to not downing any other content creator or anything like that, but
Yeah.
as opposed to some of the stuff that we've listed before, where you're not getting any kind of information out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys ever dig into the Stephen Covey books?
No, where's
If I
that?
throw Stephen Covey out there, would you even know who I'm talking about?
I do not,
This
but
is
I'll look it up.
This is going to be like management nerd stuff here, kind of, right? Stephen Covey wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right?
I've heard of that book.
If you've never read it, I would suggest it's a fantastic read, and it really takes a look at things. But he's got those 7 steps or habits, if you will, and they're really kind of common sense type things. But one of the things he talks about on there is, you seek first to understand and then to be understood.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be the step that I think a lot of people miss, right? Like we throw opinions out there without trying to understand the other side first. When like I was talking about the guy that posted what his favorite Marvel legend was, of the year. Instead of, nobody at any point there asked him, why do you think that's your favorite? Instead, everyone was telling him why he was wrong. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody says, hey, this is my favorite. Oh, really? What is it that you like about that figure? Right? What is it that you like so much about that figure? Make some effort to understand where somebody's coming from first. Somebody made the comment earlier. Hey, we've all got different backgrounds. We're all going through different things. Some people said they liked Union Gomez just because they were in that line of work. So we got to really make a better job or effort to kind of understand where people's coming from, because we all do come from different backgrounds. We all got different things going on. It doesn't make any one of us wrong, right? Your paradigm is your paradigm. My paradigm is my paradigm. But we could do a far better job, I think, of understanding other people first instead of just jumping on, right? Yeah. Even when we decide to go and talk ill of whatever company we're deciding to talk ill of, we probably need to kind of take it from, how are they going to receive this message? Or if somebody said this to you, how would you feel about it, right? Like if you put a product out there and you worked hard on it and somebody just said, man, I bought this and this thing is trash. How would that make you feel as a company to see that type of a, response or feedback? Are you going to take that, constructively? Yeah. Or is that going to kind of a turn off for you and make you want to do something else?
Even in your everyday life, like at your job, I know you manage people, Cory. You guys know what I do. If someone tells me that I suck at what I do, like fortunately I haven't heard it in a long time, it hurts. Like how do you fix it? What do I got to do to fix myself so I can, like if I was in sales or something, what do I have to do to get that customer back? Or what do I need to do to, I don't know, sell a car or whatever, fix grandma's heart or whatever it is, whatever it is you do, or sell this comic book, make this figure. Like, at the end of the day, there's still people that work at Mezco and everywhere we go, there's still people.
Yeah.
Well, just be nice, be better.
Well, do you feel like the customer, see, I've done so many customer service jobs before, and there's a point where the motto of the customer is always right doesn't apply, because it doesn't absolve you from being rude or using that as leverage. I understand, and it goes back to what you were saying about the money thing. I understand that you paid money for it. Like when I was in there and somebody would say, "Hey, I paid this money for it, that this is what I expected." I said, "I totally understand, and if you're not satisfied, let's talk about that and try to figure out some common ground." And I do think that that's the point he's trying to make, that there's no communication. And so the conversation isn't being had. And so those grievances can't be taken into play because uh, he doesn't feel like they're received because there's no feedback back. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I don't want to inject myself. Yeah, I understand that Paige updated the dates, but you didn't do anything with it. You didn't tell us why. And that's what some people are wanting.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering where the line is with it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said I understand his point. There's no two-way communication. I get his point. I understand that. But I'm just wondering, is there a line that can be drawn, or is there one that exists? Like, because we've talked about with the rudeness, people not being able to communicate. I think that's a big message in this whole thing is the communication. I think that's something we all can work on.
Mm-hmm.
Is the communication. We have these expectations or needs or desires for whatever it is.
Yeah.
What can we do to like communicate more effectively? Doesn't mean
Yeah.
you can take your passion out of it. It doesn't mean that you're not right.
Yeah.
It's the message for whatever reason, whatever company is being lost somewhere.
Yeah.
So what can we do to have better effective communication to get that message to people or the companies?
And that's probably what they ask themselves all the time, right? Like I can't believe that there's any company, I'm not talking about just Mezco, that just sit there and they just say, well, I don't care about the customer. If we don't ever sell another product, I'm not worried about it, right? Like they're always wondering, like, how can they grow their line? How can they become more popular? How can they leverage what they do have? And we as consumers, we kind of don't do a good job of really letting them know effectively on what we would like to see, because I don't think we could really agree on it, right? Like like to your point, for some people, just an update when they change the pre-order, might be good enough. Other people want to know, like Michael was talking about, hey, your head's been printed, it's now on a body, now it's shipping. Some
Right.
people would want to see that. What would satisfy the majority, to get that thing going.
Mm-hmm.
Probably no 100% answer, right? There's no silver bullets out there.
Yeah.
But
MC?
I guess I'm like kind of simple about this stuff. I look at it as I don't
He's
want
like,
to.
it's complex.
No, like I don't want to say common sense because I think that's a dumb term, but obviously there's a production delay. So do I need to be updated that there's a production delay every time a release date is shown? I mean, that's and I guess I'm just simple like that. I see that there's a delay. Oh, okay, that's that's good enough for me, and I understand and I respect that it's not good enough for everybody else. Some people really love information. They like to absorb it. They like to know everything. I mean, I've never worked in manufacturing of any sort in my life. You can tell me it's in paint. You can tell me it's in tooling. You can tell me it's in modeling. You can tell me it's in whatever. I have no clue what that means.
what does that mean, right?
Yeah, and it's not going to change for me. Like personally, it doesn't change anything. It just means that it's being made, I guess.
Right.
So, and that's just how I look at, like I'm pretty okay like that. So,
Well,
that's just me. So, I mean,
I hope that, like I said, that I hope this isn't a downer for you guys. I wanted you guys to come on because you guys are, even though I think the consensus is all the same, you guys are pretty good about looking at stuff and thinking about things and providing different perspective on it, and I'm happy that everybody, even in the chat, was able to kind of get their opinion and voice their concerns about it, because I think that's the first step of this. There's a lot that can be taken out of this, and I guess we'll just kind of see where it all goes. Like I said, it's not going to solve anything, but at least we kind of have a better idea. Off topic, has anyone noticed that Death Dealer window passed with no update a while back? Kind of seems like they forgot about it. I thought I updated that one. I'm not too sure. I'll double check, make sure. Let's talk about some good stuff. And we'll end up the show really quick. What's everybody watching and doing? How about that? Let's make it lighter. Wow, this was heavy. Holy crap.
I know, right?
I'm sorry, man.
Take
Oh, man. I'm sorry.
No. Cory, what'd you watch this weekend?
Man, what didn't I watch this weekend? You know, we're getting spoiled by the quality of content with these streaming companies and everything. Like trying to keep track of all these shows, you know, Kingdom of Dragons and She-Hulk and Andor and Ring of Power and I don't know. People talk about Yellowstone and like the list goes on and on and on about the content and things that are available. We're a little spoiled when that stuff comes out. What am I enjoying the most right now? You know, I got to be honest. Like, I didn't think I would enjoy as much as I have, but I get a kick out of She-Hulk every week. Like, just the marketing and I like it when a company kind of jabs back, when they acknowledge that they hear the rumbles in the background and kind of take it and kind of jab back. Like I find that so funny to me. And you know, this last week, hopefully no spoilers for anybody if you haven't seen it at this point, but you know, for them to do all that talk about the leapfrog. You know, and then for that episode to turn into what it was. So I won't spoil it for anybody, but what I will say is leapfrog is not the reveal in that episode. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Was just fantastic. So I really enjoying that. Man, I've got a lot of pre-orders coming in.
It's scary, isn't it?
You know what I mean? Like I'm afraid to say anything, but thank goodness for that pile of loot feature. But it's getting to the point where I'm afraid to have it shipped because this box is going to show up. It's going to take a lot of explaining. I'm on vacation next week, so I might need to have it shipped next week so I can hide that before somebody gets home. It's going to be a wow moment. It's going to be a wow moment because it is certainly piling up, man. Like
people like you are going to change that $4 shipping because you wait till they need a semi just to bring your stuff.
It's going to be a box. Like when that box arrives, that is going to be a box. I had Hooper arrive today, the NECA Hooper from Jaws.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
That is now in the pile of loot, so I'm getting close to shipping that. I'd like to get that in hand. But that's the fun stuff that I got going on.
What do you got, MC?
I enjoyed Werewolf by Night this week.
Yes.
That was so well done. I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but there are characters that I never thought we would see in live action. Like, it was fun. It was a different take with the black and white, with like the cigarette burns on the film. I thought that was really, really well done. I powered through Dahmer. Wow.
Talk about a attention-grabbing opener.
Holy crap.
I almost didn't make it through that first episode. I got to be honest. Dahmer was a little cringy in there in the beginning, and I was like, oh man, you know.
I will spoil it for everybody. He gets caught. You know.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's like Titanic, right? Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
thanks
man.
a lot.
Oh man.
Going back to She-Hulk, I really enjoyed that ending scene. Without spoiling too much, just a little walk there.
The walk of shame.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
The new episode's out right now, right?
Oh yeah. like last week. The new episode comes out tomorrow. Tomorrow's the
Oh.
finale.
Tomorrow's the finale.
Oh yeah.
It's a
I hope they
wrap.
re-up that one. I hope they do it
It's a
again.
wrap.
And like I've got these. Paige sent me this screenshot of these girls that you can order. They're sitting in my pile of loot right now.
What? Oh, yeah.
Wait. There's mail order girls, and you guys didn't.
Large busted suntanned.
Wow.
There's a reason why I'm getting those.
Wow.
So I'm waiting for I gotta ship my pile of loot. I don't wait till like I have a crate show up at my house, but Commander trip IG names minus. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just going through.
I was reading.
I like to try to give people,
So I got
like
a couple mail order honeys coming soon.
Yeah.
Are these the
Felicin
Viking figures? What are they?
Yeah,
they're
Felicin, whatever they are.
Is it Feason? You say it Feason? Viking? Feason?
So. Yeah,
Viking?
I'm trying to.
Is it a soft C or a hard C?
Are
we allowed to say that?
I believe it's silent. Just kidding.
Silent C. That's probably the safest of all the C's. Would be
I thought it was like the C in Cory, but
it's pronounced yogging.
Yeah.
I'm listening. Yeah,
I've got one of those.
What is this? Big Boy? No, I'm not looking at Big Boy toy store. I'm looking at Big
Boy.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Better be careful.
Yeah.
It's that interpretive text.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sometimes it tells on you.
Yeah, bring those honeys up.
So I was trying to. Oh, it's not working. Oh, keep talking. I tried to do this last time. It was like I was trying to do. It's way better when there's more.
The Viking ladies, those are impressive. The seamless body figures. Is that what you're talking
about? Yeah.
The seamless body females are really nice. I have one.
Yeah, this is
It's a little awkward unboxing it, to be honest.
I've got
there's tiny, right?
They're little, and of course Denise walked in on me unboxing this naked action figure. It's a little difficult to explain. Little difficult to explain because they do not come clothed. You got to put the clothing on them.
Really?
Yeah, they're in package nude.
Right. Okay, good. I was like, you can't see what I'm doing right now, can you?
No, you're good.
Okay. Yeah. Still getting used to all of these. I
was reading the reflection off your glasses.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I saw porn there at some point, but I didn't want to say anything.
No. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure that we don't get dinged for this, because I know you're probably saying you gotta go. Hold on a second. Let me just show you.
What are you watching now, Paige? I know you're powering through a lot of
TV League.
Yeah, you know what? I've been doing this 31 horror day challenge, 31 nights, and it's a contest every year. Jay invited me a couple years ago, and it's cool. There's no stress with it. I try to watch as many horror movies as I can, and every year I try to watch a different one. And so this year is bad because I've watched all the major ones. So I'm stuck with like these bad B movies and stuff like that. Unless it's something new, like she's covering. This is a public website anyway, right? Yeah, we're good. But I've been waiting for stuff like Halloween Ends and any of the new stuff that's come out. I've been watching.
MC said slower.
Yeah, we're gonna fly for that. Somebody's gonna report that. Yeah, it's showing naked stuff on a stream.
Paige, you got to explain the knife fight to me.
I'll tell you offline.
Oh yeah, you just kind of threw that out there. What exactly are we practicing for here? What's going on?
Well, nobody's gonna believe it. So
vigilante? Are you practicing to be a vigilante? Afterwards?
No, I'll tell you offline.
Yeah,
you're gonna get a kick out of it though. It's
literally.
You're
not going to kick me when I come to Florida, are you?
No, man. I'm waiting for that. I can't wait for that. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you guys. And I haven't done Galaxy, so it would be cool if we all just went.
I can't wait. I can't wait to take you guys.
February 28th. It's locked in, man. I'm coming. February 28th.
It'll be
Oh,
the Hangout live from Galaxy's Edge.
you could do it. Darius and KJ came here. I could do something with this because then all that stuff is going to be repaired. I'm going to have the roof and everything repaired. And take care of all that, and we'll just have a studio. It might be something kind of cool. Set up a couple cameras and have different stuff going on. Trick or Treat, I watch that every year.
Trick or Treat? I've never seen it.
It's good. So it's a string of like stories and stuff like that. They're all intertwined, but it's like one of those, it's kind of like Creep Show or Tales from the Crypt. You just kind of get these. What was that one? What was that one where they're on the plane? Twilight Zone kind of stuff. It's a bunch of stories all strung together. They're kind of connected, but it's a good movie. It's one of those Halloween movies. So it's the Gods and Monsters. Yes, Gods and Monsters. Yep. Been there.
Celebrity there. We get like door open for us. Get to cut in line.
Yeah.
If we go there with you.
I point back there. I go. These guys are with me.
I'm planning on name dropping. I'm definitely name dropping the whole time I'm in Florida.
I got two.
I got two. I got to take you to this comic book store that D and KJ and I went to. It's really good. Gods and Monsters is cool, but this one store I'll take you to. It's really nice. It's like a little bit out of the way. So see, we ended off on a good note. Everything's good. Everything's good. Good heavy conversation. A little bit of light tea after the end. Anybody got anything in closing? Good. Want to plug anything? Anybody? No.
Cory?
Did it get heavy again?
I think
I'm gonna have to rethink the show structure and maybe throw some funny stuff in there and do something.
Yeah.
Make the videos. That's why I do some of these for the videos.
Little funny clips in the middle.
Yeah, man, because I don't want it to get too heavy, but I like talking about this stuff. I just don't want it to get
Bill Burr highlights.
Yeah, I've been. You know what? You said something. If you get a chance, watch this clip. I'll send it to you. But it really describes when you're talking about like how people look at things nowadays. If you watch Ronnie Chang's his Amazon skit, have you ever seen that?
No.
Yeah, you gotta watch that. If anybody's watching, go watch Ronnie Chang's Amazon Prime skit. He's just talking about. He'll do the joke better, but he's talking about. He's like, I want Prime. Everything's Prime now. I want one pin in my hand, and I want you to put it in my hand. I don't want it delivered. And then he starts going off on this tangent about other stuff. Like, I want you to order the things that I haven't even thought about, and I want you to put them in my hand. The joke is really good, but it goes on, and I was just sitting there thinking, that's exactly what it is. You know, it's everybody wants. You want to push a button. You want it in your hand right now.
Yep.
So,
Well,
watch that. Watch that. Right. He's good at comment, man. And with that, she said, "In with that, it's over."
There it is.
Minnie said,
drop.
"That's it."
I think she meant Peach because she wants Mezco to see that Peach needs to come, and I agree with her.
Yeah, I do. I feel bad every time I see that, man.
Tangerine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She'll be the happiest person on the planet when that thing like drops.
We won't even see her anymore. She's got Tangerine. She's off. See one photo in hand, and then that's it. She's out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, of course, thank you guys for joining in. I apologize it did get heavy, but man, I love you guys' perspective, and that's why I had you on. And
appreciate you having us, man.
Yes, thank you.
Always thank you, man. Thank you. You guys are always welcome here. And for everybody that tuned in, it was an excellent turnout, man. A lot of people came in. A lot of people stayed. Yeah, go Bears. Who are they playing? Oh, the Commanders.
The Commanders.
Yeah.
Come on, go Bears. Beat the Commanders. Yeah.
Are the live streams random? No. So I've been trying to get a little bit better about that. Usually I stick to Wednesday nights. That way when there's all this news, bam, there you go. I usually stick to Wednesday nights. A lot of the content creators have their own nights, and I don't try to step on that kind of stuff. And Wednesdays just seem really good for me and the people that I talk with. And so sometimes there might be a guest that can't do it on a particular night. I think I had Figgy. Figgy was on, and he could only do Thursdays. So if a guest requests a different day, then that's what I do. But most of the time they're on Wednesdays. Monday, I saw somebody ask about this. Monday is going to be the drawing. So everybody that tapped in, I have your names. You'll be added to the list. And if you didn't get on, don't worry. There'll be opportunities for the rest of the week. I'm coming. But they're not random. Take care, collectors. Collect what you like. Exactly. Great. But everybody that came in and watched, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you guys so much. I promise it won't be heavy next time.
Thank you.
Great talk. Great talk as always, man. Great talk as always.
Great talks. Right. All right, you guys. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you guys very much. You guys remember they're just toys, so just have fun. Bye, guys.
Bye.